The Jason Gregor Show. On Sports 1440.
JMU blitzing. Hampton gets through the second level into the third level, stays on his feet in the end zone for a touchdown. A 15-yard score for North Carolina and Laurian Muenzer.
Presented by Playalberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Heavy pressure, Howard delivers down to Smith. He's got Jeremiah Smith. Hadn't had a touch in the second half until that potential game clincher.
Show today here on Sports 1440, streaming on Oilers Nation, Facebook, YouTube, and X. My name is Connor Halley, Declan Kruger along with me. We've got Josh Fenwick keeping us going on the stream. If you are watching the stream, make sure you hit that like button. The Jason Gregor Show, as always, brought to you by Playalberta.ca. Tonight, you've got the Lotto Max, an estimated $20 million. And then tomorrow, 649, a gold ball jackpot, $44 million. You can get your tickets at Playalberta.ca. Remember, use your game sense, and when you make a deposit, put in code word Gregor50 to get a $50 free bet. Potentially, you want to take a look at the Edmonton Elks tonight. It is game day. Elks taking on the Redblacks out in Ottawa. That's a 5:30 kickoff. The Elks coming into this one as favorites, actually, looking to make it 3 straight. We know in Ottawa, slow starts have been a problem. Quarterback, bit of an issue, but you never know. Maybe home field advantage will work out for them, but hey, I'm leaning towards the Edmonton Elks in this one. We've got a very busy show for you today. We'll kick things off in about 20 minutes with AJ Jakubec. He'll be our first guest of the show, the voice of the Redblacks. You can also hear him daily on TSN 1200 out in Ottawa. We'll have Laurian Muenzer joining us at 2:40, give or take, Olympic gold medalist. At 3:20, we'll talk some Elks with one of the co-hosts from Elks Nation, Eddie Steele, a former Grey Cup champion. As a member of the Double E, we'll hear Cam Tate's words read by me with some nice instrumental music underneath at about 3:40. At 4:20, we'll talk some Denver Broncos as Brandon Christo from Guerrilla Sports will join us. Denver Broncos, high expectations this year. Some people say, could they be the team to take down the Chiefs in the AFC West and go even further? We'll have to find out. Bo Nix, a bit of a question mark, what he can do in year number 2. Will there be the slump or will he grow? They've certainly added to that defense. Should be a lot of fun talking Denver Broncos. We'll have 5 questions before I hand things over to Declan Kruger as I head out to the Edmonton Elks watch party down at Billy Bud's tonight, 5:30. Declan will take over. He's got Alan Mitchell joining him at 5 o'clock, and then he will head to Buffalo and talk some Bills with John Scott from NBC in Buffalo. So like I said, a very busy show today here. If you want to get in on the conversation, the text line, 1-833-401-1440. It is the eWell inbox, so you can score with your Power Play partners at eWell. Get all your electrical needs at ewell.ca with 24/7 ordering and shipping in Edmonton and across Alberta. Coming in on the text line here, we've already got some stuff rolling. Well, this is Phil talking about Tyler Yemchuk worrying about keeping people captivated in his hole-in-one pursuit next year. He's like, you guys had Tyler on today, Declan, talking about that. Did we get an update on his health? Is his hands and back recovered yet?
Well, sounds like everything's doing a whole lot better.
Good.
On the road to recovery. Shout out Tyler. I'm not going to lie. I was doing some other work during the majority of the way. So Tyler, he's up and at him. He's happy. He's healthy. And he's going to do it again next year.
Excellent. It should be an annual event. I feel like you can get people, making challenges, maybe buying balls as companies.
Well,
and if you hit that ball, big deal.
Here's the thing, though. I thought about that as well, and I saw someone texted in something along those lines. If they come in and hit the hole in one, like it obviously doesn't count for Tyler, but it also really, like that has to be pretty demoralizing to see someone come in and do it immediately.
It wouldn't be a good look if someone stepped in on their first shot and hit it. You're right. Even like if Ty had hit it, because he did limp out like 37 minutes in, it would have been anticlimactic, but it would have been awesome to see him do that. So yeah, Ty, going to do that again next year. Should be a lot of fun. Quick shout out to everyone on the YouTube chat right now. Hit that like button. Austin saying, let's fire it up, gents. Afternoon, Halley and crew, and all the folks will be in the chat. Remember to get the likes up. We totally agree, Austin. If you are watching on YouTube or Facebook, make sure you hit that like button. As we've talked about already, it is game day. The Edmonton Elks 3-6 on the season, taking on the Ottawa Redblacks. For the Edmonton Elks, mostly consistency. They've played better the last 2 games, keeping up that same lineup. A couple changes, but minor tweaks, taking on this Ottawa team. And, Cody Fajardo, since he's gotten into the lineup for the Edmonton Elks, he's just been that stabilizer. And, Trey Ford, it's tough for him because he really hasn't been given the opportunity to be that guy night in, night out. Obviously, last year, McLeod Bethel-Thompson, in and out of the lineup this year. He does get pulled. But the Edmonton Elks, I think they are doing what they have to do for this team, and that is roll with one quarterback now. A couple losses to start his reign as a starter for Cody Fajardo, but you could see improvements in the offense, and that's what they needed. They couldn't be relying on the big play from Trey Ford, and which he had to do. Sometimes he'd run around in the backfield for 7 to 10 seconds and wait for something to open up. I think Cody Fajardo, since he's gotten into the lineup, has just been a little bit more of a consistent threat. He might dink and dunk you apart at times, and I'd love to see a few more big plays utilized with this offense, but they're starting to get to that. And, it hasn't been on a consistent game basis for Justin Rankin. We've seen him have good games, and then for whatever reason, they kind of go away from it. And maybe that's the opposing strategy. Try to eliminate Rankin, which would make sense. Try to stop the run game and force the Elks to beat you through the air. But I think Cody Fajardo has a better opportunity to do that. Veteran of the CFL, sees everything, able to take what the defense gives him at times. And, I think that's shown in the last couple of games. So the Edmonton Elks will try to make it 3 straight. In case you missed it last night in the CFL, it was not ideally what you would have wanted to see from the Edmonton Elks heading into the playoff push. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers victorious over the Montreal Alouettes, who were down to their 4th string quarterback. And with that, Winnipeg jumps up to 6-4. I guess you could try to spin it and say crossover wise, if the Edmonton Elks wanted to get into that position, it could help them, but they still need to get some help from some of the teams in the Western Conference to lose some football games. That was not the case. Probably shouldn't have been expected. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, good football team when they're on and when they're healthy, and they certainly got a pretty good performance from running back Brady Oliveira in this one. Also through the air, 9 targets on receptions, 73 yards. It's like Justin Rankin. Also on the ground, 16 carries, 137 yards with the touchdowns. Zach Claros doing what he had to do. Very efficient. 27 of 31 for the Bombers, 263 yards. So a pretty good game. And then, just for the Montreal Alouettes, they're doing what they can. James Morgan, he went out there, valiant effort, but tough for a guy who's the 4th string quarterback to really give you a big chance to win. And similar to the Edmonton Elks, they only rushed the ball 11 times. That's going to be tough. You want a little bit more balance, but trailing in the game, you do have to throw the football. We'll see what happens for them. They've got to find a way to get healthy. We'll also talk some more NFL, of course, as we mentioned. The NFL preseason rolling on tonight. We had a trade. We had Brian Robinson Jr. going to the San Francisco 49ers, which is an interesting one. Brian Robinson Jr., I think, is a good player and could be a very good complement to Christian McCaffrey. With McCaffrey's injury last year, maybe there's a little bit of a concern to not put all of the weight on his shoulders, which I think would be fair. Maybe give him a little bit of a lighter load. And Robinson is a guy who I think can handle, maybe in between the tackles a little bit more. He's a big dude. Some people might say he's been a little underwhelming in his career. We talked about that in Fantasy Frenzy, but we'll see. We'll see how it works out. Then Devon Bailey to the Saints from the Denver Broncos. He's 27 years old. He, was one of those guys who played college football for a long time, had the COVID seasons, was a good player for the Broncos, but they moved on from him. And if you're the New Orleans Saints, a team that needs to build through the draft, they've had cap issues in the past. I don't necessarily understand giving up draft picks for a guy who was a 7th round pick. I think they gave up a 4th and a 7th. If he works out for them and he's going to contribute, so be it. You got a good player and you want to have that message in the locker room that you're there to compete. I get that, but a little bit of a surprise there. Declan Kruger, what do you think about Brian Robinson Jr. going to the San Francisco 49ers? And on a team that realistically in the last 3 to 4 years, almost anyone who they've lined up at running back has had success.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's going to be a guy who, when he finds himself on the field, he's going to find success because San Francisco lends themselves to that at that position. Obviously, tough behind CMC. His injury history, a big question mark. We're going to need to see what happens there. Overall, I like it. Like, clearly the whoa, that was almost a Freudian slip. Clearly the Commanders are very high on their new guy they have there. I can't pronounce his name. But no, I like it. 6th round pick. I think good value. He's probably a guy who caps out as like an 800-yard back at the best of times. He's not going to be in the best of times or best of situations with CMC there as the, lead guy. So no, I think it was a fine trade for both teams, but I also think it's one trade that if it goes earth-shattering one way would be in the favor of the 49ers.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. And there's kind of not, I don't want to say it's a pipeline because it's not too many trades going back and forth between these two teams. But when you think about Lynch with the 49ers and then GM Adam Peters comes from San Francisco. Maybe a little bit of a conversation there, how he can help you out. And the running back you did speak of there, Jakubec Merritt, 7th round pick.
Not that tough. Probably should. Apparently, they really, really like that guy.
I mean, I don't know,
especially like more than ever. Apparently.
I don't know if it's the meme circuit or what, but he is getting absolutely hyped up, and he goes by Bill. There's a cartoon when he was a little guy, and I guess he looked like him, named Bill. So they call him Bill, even though his name is Jakubec Merritt. Austin Eckler there as well, but Eckler I think is a guy you want to utilize more in the passing game. Not that he can't do it, but I just think it's probably a smart way to go about it. And the Commanders now an interesting team. Tebow Samuel also acquired, in that pipeline between the two sides. They did go out there and bring in Laurian Muenzer, so a little more beef on the offensive line from the Houston Texans. Terry McLaurin, when they get this job done, hopefully he's back there. Would be a good one for them. But, I like Luke McCaffrey, brother of Christian, playing with the Commanders here, and they'll be an interesting team. Obviously, they had a really good season last year. Trying to build off that, it'll be tough. That division will be tough with the Philadelphia Eagles there as well. But I kind of like the things they have done on the other side of the football, bringing in Javon Kinlaw. We'll see what he can do for a first-round pick. Von Miller, how much does he have left? You're a Bills fan. Declan, what did you think of Von Miller the last little while? Because I saw people like hyping him up, and I like it, but in a rotation maybe.
Yeah, it's funny because we talked about Joey Bosa kind of the same way we did Von Miller. Like, I had no real expectations when Von Miller came in, and then everything he did was extra. But I knew that he was still going to do some stuff because he's still that good of a play. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's a Hall of Famer, obviously Super Bowl champion, like, multiple years at the top of the game at that position. So you knew he was going to do something, but you didn't really have any expectations because of the age and because of the history and things like that. So listen, if I'm the Commanders with Von Miller, I would approach it the same way. That would be my advice to them. Just keep your expectations low for a player of that age who's had that, that many miles on him, but anything he gives you, be happy with that because he's already gone above and beyond.
And it is interesting. Like, you look at some of the depth pieces that they have in that room. One that I see is Cleveland Farrell. We remember him. He was he 4th overall pick by the Raiders a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Like,
Clemson kid.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was drafted that high. It was a reach, I know, but working with Von Miller, could he help him out? You see the vets with their pass rush moves; they're always willing to pass those down. So I think it is kind of a nice thing for them. What he can help out with the room, and then situationally, obvious passing downs. Maybe he gets out there and tries to make some plays. It is interesting though. Like, you have guys going there. Bobby Wagner, a veteran player, linebacker, long time with the Seattle Seahawks. Zach Ertz joining up with the team, a guy who must believe they have a chance to win. When you have all these veteran players signing there or staying, kind of gives you belief that they're building something special there. So, fun team to watch this upcoming season. I think that they will finish no higher than 2nd in their division because I think the Philadelphia Eagles are just too strong. But hey, we'll have to see exactly what happens. Wade from Drayton Valley texting in 1-833-401-1440. Up to this point in the season, all 3 Elks wins have come against the East, maybe 4 after tonight. If they can put some divisional wins together, they have a chance, albeit slim at best. And that's exactly it, Wade. That's a good point. You do have to win those in-conference games, in-division games in any sport. They're twice as valuable. You can move up and down the standings a little bit easier. So that's a good point. And the West is tough. Like, we know that for a long time. For the 4th place team in the West, the path to the playoffs has gone in that crossover. That's the way to do it. And, you got a team like the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Declan, I know you're a fan. Very good team. Calgary turned it around very quickly, bringing Vernon Adams when he's healthy, a good team. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers were never going to write off. And then the BC Lions, they're 5-5. 2 of those wins come against the Edmonton Elks. So they haven't been dominant otherwise, but I think, a team that can still put it together. Out East, 6-4. 6-4 would have you tied for 3rd in the Western Conference. That's the Hamilton Tiger Cats record. The Alouettes are 5-6. That would put them 1 game up on BC, both teams with 5 wins. And then Ottawa sitting in that 3rd spot with a 3-7 record. If the Elks win tonight, they would surpass them in the league standings. And, if you get that crossover, you can slide into that spot. But we'll have to wait and see. That's a really good point, though. Winning some of those divisional games would be massive. Matt texting in 1-833-401-1440. Would you guys would you consider it a hole-in-one if it's not done during a round of golf? Matt, I think it loses some of its luster for sure. Doing it during the round. It's obviously when you're going to probably get the the frame out and the picture and all of that sort of thing. If it's done in this situation for charity, I'm counting it. But with the big note, the asterisk that, hey, it was done during a charity event and it took 1,000 tries. It's certainly not the same as doing it in round. Manny says, Declan, I fear that if your Buffalo Bills were to meet my Minnesota Vikings in the Super Bowl, the world might explode before a winner could be decided.
That would be the first Super Bowl that would end in a tie after 110 overtimes, because neither team is ever destined to win.
If there was a fan, like, I think the Bills and the Lions would be the fan base that would probably be the most fun. Like, nothing against Vikings fans, but they've had some success. You know, they had 15-1 season with Culpepper and Moss and those guys. Made it to the NFC Championship with Favre against the Saints. Like, they've had their runs. The Bills did have that very good run, 4 straight Super Bowls. We know about that. But since then, it's been tough. And the Detroit Lions have just kind of, well, we don't have to get into it. I don't want to insult any Lions fans. But Lions fans and Bills fans,
know.
they know. But Bills fans, Lions fans, I think are just the people. We all like them. They're all good people. And if they met in a Super Bowl, it'd be a lot of fun. I don't even know if there'd be like, I don't know, trash talking. It'd just be like a party, I feel like.
It's kind of like for different reasons too. Like Buffalo is like, no disrespect to Buffalo, that's my team, but there ain't really a whole lot going on in Buffalo. Like, it's kind of how people talk about Calgary. It's such a beautiful city because it's close to the mountains. It's like, yeah, Buffalo's okay because it's close-ish to New York. You know, not even that close. Like, there's just not a lot going on in Buffalo. It's kind of the Edmonton of America. And Detroit, their thing is they've just been so pitifully bad. They had 2 of like the top 5 players ever at their positions that basically just said, F this, I'm out, because the Detroit Lions cannot get it together. Like, that is what the Lions have had to deal with, right? Like, they're the lovable losers. Buffalo doesn't really have anything else. I love that meeting because someone is going home happy. And you know what? Even the loser probably goes home pretty happy because it's something they didn't have before.
Well, hopefully not the Bills. That would be 5 and be a little frustrating. Spaced out a little bit, but
I think when the Bills get there, they win it.
Oh, I mean, for your sake, I hope so.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, you know, last year was tough because Chiefs fans, you had a good run, but let's be honest, there's a little arrogance there, and it's deserved. They've been so good. They can be a little cocky. Eagles fans have that reputation as well. Had the Commanders won, I think people might have been a little more chill. Bills fans, I think people, for the most part, are cool with. You know, they just jump through tables and spray each other with ketchup and mustard. They're fun people. Ravens, I'm not sure about. Maybe middle ground because they have had a little bit of success. Obviously, 2 Super Bowls since the year 2000. When did the Ravens' first one come in? Was that 2000?
Yeah.
So
It might have been. Was it 01?
Might have been Bucks. Nope. 2000. We're getting that from our statistician, Josh Fenwick.
You don't know.
They also won with Flacco and that era. So, yeah, like they've had theirs. I don't know who would be the most lovable fan base, but I would think probably, you know, Buffalo wouldn't be too far off. The Lions, those teams that just perennially struggle in the NHL. I don't even know who would be like the Sharks and the Blue Jackets. Maybe nobody would be too upset if that were to happen. Little text in here from Camrose Buckeye. Love it. Boys, first time texter. Thank you for that Will Howard to JJ Smith audio clip in the intro. OHIO. Yeah, Buckeyes this season. Declan, how are we feeling about them?
Well, it's funny you ask. I actually have them. I have it all written down right here. I have them going 11-1 in the regular season, winning the Big Ten championship game, and then I have them losing to Texas in the college football playoff.
Oh, Arch Manning.
Yeah, it'll
Is
be
Texas winning it all? Or
I have Texas over Clemson, yes, but I have Ohio State winning their Week 1 matchup against Ohio State. Or sorry, I have Ohio State beating Texas in that Week 1 matchup, but I have Texas getting their get back in the playoff, then winning the Natty.
All right,
Texas over Clemson.
Where's Penn State in that conversation?
Penn State, I have going 10-2 this year. They're going to Penn State it up. Until I watch them not Penn State it up, in my mind, they are going to Penn State it up, and they are going to James Franklin it up. So we'll see what happens. This is the best they've been in years. They should be better, but I can't have them better than 10-2 right now.
All right. Manny texting in, Vikings lost by 4 in 1976. Long-suffering generational talents in every era. Yeah, like I can't necessarily speak too far back, but I mean, man, those Moss and Chris Carter teams, good teams. Who's the running back? You guys had a really good running back there. Smith? 2000s, good team, built up some good defensive units there. Brought in Brett Favre for the run. Vikings have had a good run, and the fans, like the stadium there looks unbelievable. J-Max says, boys, I spent a lot of time in the Flow. The area around the rink and in the area around the anchor bar are absolutely depressing things. Don't really get bright and cheerful until you get to the area of Walden Galleria. It's a very depressing place, but you're right. The people are truly amazing. One year, my buddy and I were bored. We decided to drive across the border and watch the Super Bowl in Buffalo. We went to the anchor bar and a bartender was like, don't watch the game here. This place sucks. Come to my local. And he literally took us to his bar, J-Mac. You said the Flow, and for whatever reason, J-Mac, my mind went to Florida, but that was in the Flow, Buffalo. Yeah, I don't know. There was a big deal when Willis McGahee wanted out of Buffalo. There was a very funny video that followed after of Marshawn Lynch kind of living it up at the Applebee's and Dave and Buster's and having a good time. But you're there to play football, and it feels like the current Bills group, that's the focus. And that's where it should be. You're not living there year-round. You don't have to. You could. But just be there during football season, and when you're there, be there to work. And I think this Bills team is kind of taking that on. And when your quarterback's Josh Allen, guy who played college ball at Wyoming, maybe he loves Buffalo. We'll take a break. Lots to get to on this show still. Of course, we got Laurian Muenzer joining us in about 20 minutes. Coming up next, though, we'll talk some Ottawa Redblacks with the voice of the team, AJ Jakubec. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, streaming on Oilers Nation, Facebook, YouTube, and X, brought to you by Playalberta.ca.
And here comes Action Electrical Service Team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical lighting and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Listen up, because you're not going to want to miss this. Right now is your chance to get in on Playalberta's biggest offer ever. For a limited time only, new players can get up to a $1,000 casino bonus when they sign up. There's never been a better time to join the fun. Visit playalberta.ca today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
The Midsummer Sales Event is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. The all-new redesigned 2026 XC90 is here. Test drive the ultimate evolution in luxury. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60 from 0.49% and save $5,000. Finance or lease a 2026 XC40 from 2.99%. Come and discover the deals now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. The Midsummer Sales Event is on now at volvocarsedmonton.com.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to call Legacy. Call Legacy. For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Elks Nation, 2 weekly podcasts with Eddie Steele and myself, breaking down the green and gold, the most in-depth Double E football coverage on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcast.
Welcome back. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, streaming on Oilers Nation, Facebook, YouTube, and X. Hit that like button if you're tuning in through that route. Connor Halley sitting in for Jason for one more week. He'll be back the week following the next one. Declan Kruger and Josh Fenwick here as well. The Jason Gregor Show brought to you by Playalberta.ca. Lotto Max an estimated $20 million tonight. Also tomorrow, it is the 649 Gold Ball Jackpot, an estimated $44 million. So you can get your tickets Playalberta.ca. Also, when you make your deposit, use code word Gregor50 and you'll get a $50 free bet, which you could flip and put on the Edmonton Elks tonight as they are out in Ottawa. Hoping to connect with AJ Jakubec here, the voice of the team, as we preview that one tonight. Text already coming in here from Manny, talking about some of the Minnesota Vikings teams of the past. He mentioned Adrian Peterson. Heck of a run. And then I said, oh yeah, Christian Ponder. There was I think Jake Locker was another guy who was drafted in that draft class where all these quarterbacks were just flying off the board. It was crazy. Sham says, Connor, as I've said before, I grew up in Buffalo. Still have 3 bros and sisters there. Been in the Anchor Bar, home of the invention of the chicken wings 1,000 times. However, J-Mac was correct. Not a great place to watch a game. It's actually a jazz bar. Great music, but there is only a bar on just about every corner to go watch the Bills. Go Bills from Sham. Oh, great text, Sham. Appreciate it. Right now, we're going to get to the CFL report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. No OT charges, furnace repair, and maintenance. Do it now with LegacyHeating.ca. We bring in from TSN 1200, the voice of the Ottawa Redblacks, AJ Jakubec. AJ, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Connor. How are you?
I'm doing really good. We appreciate you doing this on the game day. Obviously, we know you're getting ready for this one tonight. And so far for the Ottawa Redblacks, probably not the way they would have hoped this season had gone. You got the injury to Drew Brown, and Dustin Crum's going to make his 3rd straight start for the Redblacks this evening. Do you have any update on Drew Brown?
Yeah, nothing really beyond the fact that he's not playing this week. They're hopeful that he's going to be back after the bye week, but out this week. So basically the 4th game this year, he won't start. Dustin Crum has started 2. They're 1-1 in those games. And then Matt Schultz started 1. So they always kind of say you need your backups to go right around 500 if you're going to survive any kind of length of injuries. And we'll see if Ottawa can get back to at least 500 without Drew Brown tonight because they're desperate for this one. 4 games under 500. Montreal is flailing because of injuries as well. Not nearly as many as they've got in Ottawa, as much as some of the people in Montreal crying would like you to believe. But nonetheless, massive game for both these teams, and it feels like a must-win for Ottawa.
Yeah, I would say so, especially just how competitive that Eastern Conference is right now. Like you said, Montreal, they've on their 4th-string quarterback. So what have you seen from Dustin Crum this season so far in the limited exposure?
Yeah, some progression. It's year 3. I mean, year 1, he came in, thrown to the Wolves, had a bunch of injuries at quarterback. And, Crum played pretty well out of the gate. They were 3-3 at what they call the Crumback, miracle comeback that he led against Winnipeg, one of the great games in the CFL in the last few years. But then as teams started to get a little bit more film on him, he struggled throughout the rest of the year and really didn't see a ton of progress last year. We have seen a little bit more progress this year. It's not just one read, and if the first read isn't there, you take off. He's gone through his progressions a little bit better. He has been really good off the bench, but 1-1 as a starter, and that win came largely because of what they did on the ground, almost 250 yards between a 3-headed monster that included Daniel Adeboboye, William Stanback, and Crum. So with Edmonton game planning for Crum all week, we'll see how that progression is. If it continues, if he is going to show that there's more to just being a guy that can come off the bench and help and run the ball a little bit, or does he have a future beyond that as a potential starter? I do feel, especially if Drew Brown is back, this is a big opportunity for him. It's not even about whether he wins or loses. I mean, certainly the team needs the win. but it's about him showing that he gives them a chance to win here tonight. Otherwise, I mean, where do you go from here in terms of your backups if you're Ottawa? So we'll see how it plays out, but we have seen progress. I guess that's the bottom line from what we saw a year ago.
Now, on the flip side for the Edmonton Elks, defensively, there's been some tough games, but like you, seen some progress here with this group. For Ottawa, what do you think the plan is to attack this Elks defense?
Well, they got to get pressure on Fajardo because clearly when watching Edmonton since he's taken over, he's given them a chance to win, but the games where the Elks have struggled have not been because of him on offense. It's because he's running for his life. So I noticed they beefed up in terms of extra protection last week in the game against Toronto, so it's not going to be easy getting some pressure on him. But I think it starts with that, especially because on the back end, this is an injury-plagued group. They've had to make a number of different changes throughout the secondary. I mean, they're working on their 5th starting safety of the season. It's their 4th starting will linebacker of the season. And in both these cases, here in this game, DeAndre Lamont's moving over to half or from half to safety, and Jovan Santos Knox moving from middle linebacker to will. So it's crazy the amount of injuries this team has suffered, especially when it comes to Canadians, which has affected the ratio. I mean, they brought in William Stanback to be a number 1 running back, ran for over 1,000 yards last year in Montreal, and they can't start him each and every week. He has to play as a veteran American, limited snap count, at least limited when it comes to, the 5 receiver sets when there's extra Americans on the field. Last game against Winnipeg, 3 minutes left, tie ball game, and or at that point, I guess it was a 7-point ball game, and he had to leave the game and only basically come back if they had, extra Canadians and extra beef out there. So it's been an issue on both sides of the ball, just the injuries decimating this team. Not to mention, I mean, they do have their center back, but they lost 2 centers at one point this year. And Jacob Ruby was basically brought in to be insurance, former Elk as well. Basically brought in to be an 8th or 9th offensive lineman, and he was starting the year at center and then playing right tackle. So, that's the nature of the beast. People say everyone's got injuries. There's a chart out that basically Ottawa's doubled the next team in the CFL when it comes to injuries. So it's not always even. And they're going to need to look at that because I don't know how much of that is bad luck. I don't know how much of that is stuff that they could have done differently or better, but that's something that they're going to have to look at the end of the season as well. Or they brought in too many injury-plagued players. I don't know what the answer is. Bottom line is it's hurt this football team. And back to your question, yeah, I mean, I think you have to get pressure on Cody Fajardo because that back end is going to be a lot of new faces, a lot of faces in different spots. And we'll see, with guys like Robert Priester and Amari Henderson and some of the others that they're missing from the back end, if they can find a way to survive, Cody Fajardo, a Grey Cup winning quarterback here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I knew the injuries were bad. I did not know they were that bad. As we're taking a look at the Ottawa Redblacks with AJ Jakubec, voice of the team from TSN 1200 in Ottawa, and you talked about kind of the changes with the secondary and looking at the schedule. Through the last 4 games, the defense has allowed 30 points or more. Do you think that's mostly a direct result of all those changes going on back there?
Yeah, I mean, they played pretty well against Calgary. Now, PJ Walker was starting in quarterback that game, so it was 30 against Winnipeg. It was 42 against Toronto, but certainly the Calgary game, they were really strong and limited them to, I think it was 11 points that game. So, yeah, I think in the end, the defense could be a little bit better. I mean, for me, the biggest issue this year, if you look at just how this football team has played and where they have needed to be better, it has been offensively. And, the 46-point game, propped up some stats that earlier in the season were right at or near the bottom of the league in every major category, whereas the defense has been more middle of the pack and had given Ottawa numerous games an opportunity to win week after week. So it's up to Tommy Condell to put together a plan that's going to give them a chance to win. First quarters have been devastating for this team, and they have had some comebacks, including the game at Edmonton, which they fell short. But it's tough to win games when you're constantly down, when you're averaging 2.1 points a first quarter. They got 21 all year. So tough to play catch-up football, much like their season. Tough to make the playoffs when you start with 3 wins in 10 games and you're chasing the rest of the way. So I think a start is going to be imperative, especially without Drew Brown, because, Drew Brown's the guy who led that big comeback, the 3-touchdown comeback victory where he threw for 5. They don't have Drew Brown tonight, so you can't just spot Edmonton 10 points out of the gate and think that you're going to be okay. So that's been I'm sure players and coaches are sick of those questions that we've been asking about your starts. But when you start with 21 points in 10 games in the first quarter, guess what? You have to answer crap questions like that. And so if they don't want to hear those questions next week after the bye week, better come out, get some points, and better come out and get a win here tonight against the Elks.
We're just looking at some of the statistics for some of the players there. And Geno Lewis kind of having a statistical season like he does, very good, 6th in the league in receiving yards. Any other bright spots for this team despite, the injuries and the tough record so far?
Yeah, I think offensively, Geno Lewis has been solid, but even his start was inconsistent. There's a drop here and a drop there, and the first, he's been better in the last 5-6 games, but the first 4 or 5 games of the year, he was too many mistakes, and that was the issue. Cole Pimpleton has been absolutely electric. When you look at his return game, when you look at what he can do offensively when he gets the ball into his hands, but he's made a couple of key mistakes as well, fumbles and offside on a 2nd and short that made it 2nd and 6, and they don't convert, and then you're punting and stuff like that. So, yeah, there's bright spots throughout the lineup, but honestly, beyond Pimpleton, I don't think there's anyone that's in award status that might be up for MOP or top defensive player. Pimpleton should absolutely be in the mix amongst a number of other players around the league for top special teams player, just with how explosive he's been. But beyond that, I think anyone else is going to get into award or all-star category. They're going to need better better second half, of the season than they brought in the first half.
AJ, thanks so much for doing this today, and have a great call tonight.
My pleasure, Connor. Take care.
You as well. There you go. That is AJ Jakubec, a long time out in Ottawa. Before that, he was in Edmonton, actually. Did Oil Kings games for a while, worked with us down the dial. Great to have him back on the mic. And that's tough injury stats. And we've seen it here for the Elks too. In the secondary, there was times a couple of players go down. Anytime you have injuries along the offensive line, you're trying to shuffle things around, and then the ratio comes into play. It's certainly not going to be easy, and no team in the CFL is going to have any pity for you. They're going to go out there and try to expose those links. And I think we've seen that with the Redblacks this season. As we mentioned, 3 out of 4 games, giving up at least 30 points. They did win 2 of those 4 games, one of which the defense did play pretty good, but as mentioned, it was against the Stampeders, who did not have Vernon Adams in the lineup. The text line, 1-833-401-1440, if you want to get in your thoughts on that game tonight. Edmonton Elks coming in as slight favorites. We'll continue the CFL discussion as we go on throughout the day. Of course, Eddie Steele, former member of the Green and Gold, co-host on the Kevin Carrius Show Monday and Friday, will join us at about 3:20. We'll also hear from Alan Mitchell from the Lowdown Flow Tide, sitting in for the Spec Report at 5 o'clock. But keep the text rolling here. We can talk some Oilers, Elks, Major League Baseball, Blue Jays in action tonight, kicking off a series with the Miami Marlins. For those who are following along, Shane Bieber going to get the start for Toronto. Some pretty good starts down with Buffalo in AAA. So Bieber, wearing number 57 for the Blue Jays, will get the start tonight as the Jays taking on the Miami Marlins. First pitch set for 5:10. We'll take a break here. When we come back, we will be joined by Olympic gold medalist Laurian Muenzer in studio. It is the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, and Josh Fenwick sitting in for you here on Sports 1440. Also streaming on Oilers Nation Facebook, YouTube, and X. Brought to you by Playalberta.ca.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
Electrical Solar Team is now making a play for sustainability and savings. They're specialists in powering up for a greener future.
That's the strategy, designing and installing high-efficiency solar panels. They're helping homes and businesses combat rising utility costs by harnessing the power of the sun.
A smart move for efficiency and the environment. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 air conditioning install company for slushy lovers. Because while a slushy keeps you cool as an 80s song for a moment, AC from Legacy keeps you cold as ice all season long. A permanent full-body slushy sensation keeping you cold as ice with no payments and no interest for 1 year. Keeping you cool without the brain freeze. That's how you build a legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
McDonald's Sundaes and snack-size shakes are $2, or get $1 cones exclusively on the McDonald's app. With those prices, your hands are going to be full of treats. Like Alex here.
My phone.
I got you. App download and registration required. At participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
The 8th annual Oilers Nation Open tees off Friday, August 29th at 9 a.m. A Texas scramble with fellow golfers, sports fans, and maybe even a few local personalities. Great shots, cold drinks, and a great cause. Gregor's Grads. Sign up at nationgear.ca.
It's road trip season, and that means loading up on the road trip essentials like snacks, tunes, and Hondas. Sherwood Honda has fuel-efficient, dependable SUVs, hybrids, crossovers, and more to take you up, down, and all around this province and beyond. Travel in comfort and safety, going where you want to go, when you want to go, stopping to see whatever catches your imagination on the way. Summer road trips make memories that sure would last. Start yours off right at Sherwood Honda.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Jump on OCR's party shuttle buses to Elks games and concerts in Commonwealth. To see all upcoming bus events, visit ontherocksyag.com.
.1440, also streaming on Oilers Nation Facebook, YouTube, and X. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, and Josh Fenwick with you here. The show brought to you by Playalberta.ca. You can head over tonight, buy your ticket for the Lotto Max, an estimated $20 million. And then tomorrow, 649 Gold Ball Jackpot, $44 million. Remember, use your GameSense AB.ca. Right now, we'll get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Silent Rides Charter Company. Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches safely taking your team or group to their next destination. Visit silentrides.ca for more info. We bring in Olympic gold medalist Laurian Muenzer. Laurian, how are you doing?
Doing awesome, catching the rays, being out at the Alberta 55-plus games out in the Duke. I got to kick off and start all of the time trial. So there was 30 competitors, recreational and competitors. So 2 categories and amazing performances.
Now, did you get the itch to get back out there and show them a thing or two, or what?
Well, I would have liked to have gone for a ride afterwards, but you know what? They still have one more race, and that's tomorrow. It's either a 40-kilometer road race or a 20-kilometer road race. So, wanted to go easy on them and just, let them do the one event today.
Now, what was some of the more, I'd say, memorable moments from your time out there?
Oh my gosh. Part of it was just like a blast from the past, just reconnecting with some people I haven't seen in about 15 years, meeting new people. I got to hold the riders, some of them, as they started, because some riders wanted to clip in. Some riders weren't really comfortable. And I can tell you on race day, you don't change it up.
Yeah.
You stay the course. And amazing, oh my gosh, amazing performances. Sid was 81 years old. His birthday was yesterday. So, he's into that 80 plus category. I can only imagine being 80 plus and still riding my bike, but just, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80 years old and still racing. It's just a great group of people, and they just love the social part, but they also love being on their bikes too.
Yeah. I mean, I could imagine a lot of the fun would be after the event and you're kind of just chopping it up with everybody. You said 80 plus?
80 plus. Sid is 81 years old. His birthday was literally yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's just, never give up, always keep going. And I've always said your age is just a number on your driver's license.
Yeah.
So it's how you feel. And it's really just about being a kid again, going out and playing and doing a lot of the things that you love to do. And this weekend is perfect with it. There's still time to sign up if anybody wants to volunteer. It's supposed to be a great weekend of weather. So whether you're indoors or outdoors, and I think there's 26 sports. So you can go from cribbage to floor curling, which I'd never, ever heard before. It's literally a full-on sport, to cycling tomorrow. So they're always looking for volunteers, and really cool way to, get introduced maybe into a new sport or just meet some really great people.
Yeah. So volunteers welcome out in Leduc. That'd be a good little plug there for those of you looking for do some of this over the weekend. Now, you talked about being a kid again, which brings me to Aphrodite Dang, who is a 15-year-old golfer. She's won amateur tournaments this weekend, I believe in Mississauga, Ontario, for the CPKC Women's Open. After yesterday, she was atop the leaderboard. Now she's fallen off a little bit. Now she's -3. She's +2 on the day, so not quite as good of a round. But to shoot a -5 at the age of 15, pretty impressive feat to go out there and do that against some of the best golfers in the world.
Mm-hmm. I tell you, a lot of it is the mindset, but it is just that ability to play.
Yeah.
Literally do what you love to do. And that's what we get to see with a lot of these athletes is it really is passion. It's doing something that you love to do, but golf has a little bit of a catch. It's you against your brain, because your brain can usually sink the putt, or it can throw you into the sand or, into the waterways. And it's a matter of, it doesn't matter what age you are, it's keeping the focus in on what the next move is going to be versus 3 or 4 holes down the road. And just staying the course. Don't let those distractions get under your skin. And that's the problem with being an athlete, is a lot of times people, they put you on a pedestal. You're up here, and if you fall off, or if you have a bad game, you have a bad shot, you get totally raked over the coals. And it's like, we're human too.
Yeah.
We really are. But just to think about the preparation, the support at 15 to be able to go and play at that level, that's huge. It's, if you look at a lot of the amateur athletes here in Canada, there isn't the funding, there isn't the support to be able to go out and play on an international stage. So sometimes you have to take it upon yourself to go seek out sponsors, those people that will support you, the coaching, the mentorship. And I think that's part of the fun. It's part of the puzzle. Sometimes it's a crazy puzzle, especially when you want to get to an event, you don't have the sponsorship, the funds, or the support to get there. And you really have to start to get creative of, how can I make this happen? Sometimes things happen really quick where you can, rise up, just like Aphrodite. I mean, like, holy moly. I remember when Jennifer Capriati was playing, 13 years old, 11 months. I think she was up against Martina Navratilova. One of the prizes was a Porsche, and I think Martina won that. And she goes, I just couldn't let a 13-year-old win a car. She's not even old enough to drive.
Yeah.
But it's just like, what an opportunity. I was playing, I don't know, shinny on the street. I was whacking the tennis ball against James Cullinan School in Toronto, and we were racing around the neighborhood on our bikes. What would have life been like if I was actually serious, or if I had proper coaching, training, that sort of thing? I think we all think about that. And sometimes you're given that opportunity where you can go and run with it. So, kudos to her. This is a moment for her to remember.
Always funny when you bring up those stories, because we always talk about like the young athlete going head to head and they're 13, 14, 15.
Yeah.
Imagine being a 30-year-old, and that's your competition. Like, okay, I can't take it easy on you. You're just a kid, but this is, I'm a pro. I got to handle my business. So it's kind of,
Totally.
we love the young side, but then there's pros, people that do this to put meals on the table, and they got to take it seriously and lock in. So kind of an interesting dynamic.
Totally. Well, the thing is, my story, I was 38 at Athens, and I don't know if you know the date today.
Is it the anniversary?
It's sort of, because the races were 3 days.
Yeah.
22nd, 23rd, 24th of August.
Okay.
So 21 years ago today is when all of the racing started. And I believe there was 16 of us. But in the finals, Tamila Abasova from Russia was 21 years old. I was 38. She was old enough to be my kid.
Yeah.
So no kid jokes, no mom jokes. And you literally look at it and it's just two athletes or a group of athletes just on a mission to come home with a win or into the next round, that sort of thing. And that's where the mindset is set.
Yeah. Laurian Muenzer joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in. And I want to ask you about that. So 3-day race, so obviously you have a lot of time to not a lot of time, but time to think about things. And I'm sure for some people that would rather just race them, consecutively. But we were kind of talking off the break. Paul Skeens, star pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates, had a bit of a rough outing a couple weeks ago against Milwaukee. Only lasted 4 innings. They got shelled 14-0. Obviously, in baseball, as a pitcher, you're waiting 4 more games before you get back out there. But he got a chance against the Blue Jays on Monday, had a really good performance. I guess it would vary athlete to athlete, sport to sport. But what do they do to get back ready for that next start and, an opportunity to correct things?
Oh, you're always looking to course correct, because it's how could I make my performance better? How could I take it up a notch? And this isn't like it's a first time thing. It's you've done this before. So then it's part of the preparation of what do I need to do to get back into the ring or get back into the game? There's certain things that you do, like he's going to have icing time, especially for his shoulder, right? They'll play him a certain number. They'll make him sit out a certain number, unless it's like do or die and you got to put him in. So there's a routine that you have or a ritual, and it is something that you are always tweaking to make a little bit better than the last time.
Yeah.
And where can you shine versus get sunk with it? So, is it music? Is it food? Is it a social aspect with your friends around? Is it being outside in nature, or is it just maybe you've got some creative project or something that you're doing? Maybe, you're a videographer, you're doing something like that. Everybody has a different thing. The other thing too is, as athletes, you can always see the headphones going on, and usually like they're big versus like the little AirPods. I mean, unless you're, looking for a space saver. But there's a ritual, because you want to be able to shut out the noise. The outside noise is the thing that will throw you off your game. And it could be something so little and so stupid that you just go, why did I let it get under my skin? And sometimes it's just an energy thing.
Yeah. So with that, we were talking a little bit about the golf tournament going on in Mississauga and the outside noise. If you're playing a tournament in, let's say, Scotland, and you're a golfer, maybe you can go for a walk, right? Get a coffee. Maybe nobody really knows who you are. But if you're Brooke Henderson in Mississauga, everyone's talking to you. The press wants to speak to you. How do you keep that outside noise outside? Because it's everywhere.
It is. It's like going to the Olympics. You have your team, your group of people. They are the eyes and ears around you to help you navigate. Do I do media? Do I not do media? Who do I connect with? Do they have a car waiting or a van waiting?
Yeah.
We've seen all different kinds of stars, get ushered here and there with different, rides, that sort of thing. So it's your team, it's your group who is around you, your circle of influence, that for this time of period is that they really are your eyes and ears. And you have to be totally clear on what your expectation is as an athlete, and then also what's expected of those who are around you. Sometimes certain people you'll let help you into the venue, or maybe not. It all depends, right? Expectations and intentions are really, really huge. And it's like, I'm sorry to say, but the athlete at the end of the day has the final word.
Yeah.
Whether it's driving to the venue or somebody else driving, or it's like, okay, I've got to have this meal at this time, or I've got to drink this drink, or whatever it is. Again, it comes back to rituals, but who is in your circle of influence, as we call it, is really, really vital. Setting your expectations, but also being able to know the time of when to have a good conversation and when to have those hard conversations to go, we need to tweak the program here of what we're doing, because it is a multiple day event. And it's not just one day, but it's the multiple days that is harder to maintain because of the mental energy that you either use or you lose.
So I want to ask you this. When you were competing in, let's just say, power rankings 1 through 3, where was your favorite country to compete? And where did Canada rank, if it even cracked the top 3?
Oh, like in terms of like the best countries or best velodromes?
I'd say just in total, like all of it. But, maybe it was, this place luxurious, you enjoyed getting away from it all, or being in Canada, you get the home country support.
Okay.
Well, if you have to put it all into one bottle, like 1 through 3, what would be your favorite places to compete?
Ooh, that's hard. I would say Sydney, the Duck Gray Velodrome, my first Olympics, incredible experience. My all-time favorite velodrome was Manchester in England.
Okay.
And it wasn't because of just the Guinness, but that was a really good sidekick. Incredible venue, world class. I've loved being down in South America. Quito, Ecuador was a crazy experience. 10,000 feet above sea level. You are walking around, but you're sipping the air, feeling like it's through a straw. It was so hard to breathe. And then think about racing. I don't know. I'm having a hard time going just 3. There's probably 49 different velodromes that I've ridden and raced on and trained on, but I would say those 3 are probably favorite there.
That's it. Awesome. Well, Laurian, thanks for doing this. We'll let you go, and we'll have you back tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow, next Friday as well. I'll be here again.
Right on. Look forward to it.
There you go. Laurian Muenzer, Olympic gold medalist, joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show every Friday at 2:40. Of course, if you did miss it, check the podcast. We'll have that up within the hour. Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from. Right now, we'll get to a Sports 1440 update with Declan Kruger, brought to you by Playalberta.ca. Of course, tonight, Lotto Max, estimated $20 million. Then tomorrow, the Gold Ball jackpot for the $649, $44 million when you make a contribution to Sports Playalberta.ca. Use code word Gregor50. With that, you get a $50 free bet. Use your game sense at Playalberta.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Edmonton Elks game day. They are in Ottawa to take on the 3-7 Redblacks in Week 12 CFL action. Kickoff for this one at 5:30, and they will be facing backup quarterback Dustin Crum in this one. 49ers have acquired Brian Robinson from the Washington Commanders for a 2026 6th-round draft pick, and the Minnesota Wild are signing restricted free agent Marco Rossi to a 3-year, $15 million extension. MLB will get going today at 4:40. The Rockies and Pirates kicking off the day's action. Blue Jays will play the Marlins at 5:10. Shane Bieber on the mound for the Jays in that one. Tour championship. Tommy Fleetwood and Russell Henley leading the way at 13 under. The highest ranked Canadian in the field, Nick Taylor, tied for 14th at 6 under. And in the CPKC Women's Open, Aki Iwa of Japan currently leading the field at 9 under. Brooke Henderson, the highest ranked Canadian, at 5 under on the tournament. And Aphrodite Dang, who at one point was leading the field, tied for 13th at 3 under. I'm Declan Kruger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Listen up, because you're not going to want to miss this. Right now is your chance to get in on Playalberta's biggest offer ever. For a limited time only, new players can get up to a $1,000 casino bonus when they sign up. There's never been a better time to join the fun. Visit playalberta.ca today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Summit Restaurant, located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town. The Midsummer Sales Event is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. The all-new redesigned 2026 XC90 is here. Test drive the ultimate evolution in luxury. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60 from 0.49% and save $5,000. Finance or lease a 2026 XC40 from 2.99%. Come and discover the deals now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. The Midsummer Sales Event is on now at volvocarsedmonton.com.
And now Action Electrical's testing team is on defense duty. They're the guardians of safety and compliance, a critical part of any lineup.
Precisely. They perform rigorous safety and code compliance testing for commercial operations. Think of them as the referees, ensuring everything is up to standard before disaster strikes.
Their preventative plays are legendary, spotting faults early. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
New crust alert at Papa John's. Your favorite cheese meets your favorite pizza in the new cheddar crust pizza for only $17.99. Papa John's pizza makers created the perfect addition to their crust by melting garlic and herb seasoned cheddar cheese right on top of their fresh original dough that's made with 6 simple ingredients. Try a one-topping cheddar crust pizza today for only $17.99. You better hurry though, because it's only for a limited time. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, proudly locally owned and operated.
New Jizz Nuggets. This is New Jizz Nuggets, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. What nugget of cooling advice does Nuge have today?
An air conditioner works by blowing air across the cold evaporator coil where the heat is absorbed into the refrigerant. I actually don't know what that means. Kind of like Zach Hyman with goaltender interference. Sorry, Zach.
Well, you got me there. Get no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling. Proud sponsor of New Jizz Nuggets.
This summer, get it done with Bashaw Concrete Products. The highest quality ready mix and gravel with quick, dependable delivery across central Alberta. Call now for your free quote from their friendly, helpful team. Bashaw Concrete Products also offers precast water pads for your cattle, garage sumps, and water cisterns. And if your farm, acreage, or cabin needs a new septic tank, remember, their CSA-approved tanks include a 20-year limited replacement warranty. Can't beat that. Visit BashawConcrete.com and follow them on Facebook.
Wendy's most important deal of the day has a fresh lineup. Pick any 2 breakfast items for $4. New 4-piece French toast sticks, bacon or sausage wrap, biscuit or English muffin sandwiches, small hot coffee, and more. Limited time only at participating Wendy's. Taxes extra.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantor. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at Cantor.com.
Welcome back. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, also streaming on Oilers Nation, Facebook, YouTube, and X. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, and Josh Fenwick with you here from the Stingray Studios in West Edmonton Mall. The Jason Gregor Show brought to you by Playalberta.ca. Tonight, it is Lotto Max, an estimated $20 million. Who's the best 20 in sports right now? All I can think of right now is Travis Henry. I don't think he was the best player, but Declan, you might remember him from the Bills. I feel like he went to a few other teams. I think he might have had like 20 kids too.
We watch these players all the time. Then a question like this happens, like who's the best 20 in sports? And I cannot think of a single athlete who wears it. You know what I mean?
Didn't John Avery wear 20 in Edmonton, the running back? Oh. Okay, so we probably slept on Barry Sanders and Ed Reed.
Okay. Well, I didn't know we were actually going through the list. Those two would be pretty obvious.
I had to get it out there before someone texts in, "Hey, idiots," and then drops like the most obvious names on us.
Yeah.
Ray Allen wore 20.
Ray Allen did wear 20. I wouldn't say he was who was the best number 20 in the NBA?
Gary Payton.
The glove. That's
The glove.
a good shout. Who else?
Brian Dawkins in the NFL.
Manu Ginobili.
Manu, yeah.
How about Rondé Barber?
Yeah, he was cool.
He was tight. What else we got here?
I went to a Bucks
Luke
game.
Robitaille.
Robitaille would be a good one. I went to a Bucks game, and after the game, we tried to get autographs. I got Bruce Gradkowski and Cadillac Williams on a visor that they gave us at the game.
Oh, that's good.
And me and my buddy were like, we're going to wait and try to get some more. And all the fans that were talking to us said, don't even try for Rondé. He'll walk right past you. He doesn't sign autographs.
No way. And did he?
No, he didn't even look at us. Beelined it right to
So he
his
did,
car.
in fact, walk right past you guys.
They were correct. Yeah. A lot of guys like stoked to sign autographs. Not Rondé, but good pick with number 20. So did Tiki also did, or was he 21?
I think Tiki was 21.
21 is another good number. But the Lotto Max night at Playalberta is 20 mils. So.
Is Tiki Barber the best running back to ever wear number 21? He might just, well, he's number 20.
Are you trolling me right now?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I can't seem to think of. Are there any New York Jets legends who wore number 21
Jets
with
legend,
a different team?
21. No, Willis McGahee wore 21.
Willis McGahee wore
with
number
the Bills,
21.
right?
Yeah.
He was probably better than. Well, yeah, he was better than Tiki.
Tiki was kind of cold.
Maybe
though.
not. Maybe not. LT's the GOAT 21 at running back.
Who are some other running backs who wore number 21?
Nobody that matters.
Fact.
Dion has to be probably the best 21 of all time, but
yeah.
Dave Lumley, Mighty Cobra says. Propane P was quick with Barry Sanders.
When that's your favorite player, you just get it a little bit quicker.
Yeah. Barry was great.
I don't know if that is his favorite player or not. I'm just like speaking in generality.
He might have just known the second we said it. Anyways, if you want to win $20 million, you have a chance with Lotto Max tonight. And then tomorrow, it is the 649 Gold Ball Jackpot, $44 million. Playalberta.ca. If you do want to do some betting, maybe you want to throw some money down on the green and gold tonight, use code word Gregor50 with your deposit. You'll get a free $50 bet. Playalberta.ca. Use your game sense. Propane P says he was not my favorite player. I was an Emmett guy. Yeah, Emmett Smith was pretty good. 22.
Yep, he was cold. Arizona Cardinal legend.
Cards legend. Got some good golfing when he went down there. No doubt about it. When it comes to running backs, if you want to be a legit one, you got to wear a number in the 20s. I'm old. I hate single digits.
There are some good 30s, though.
Who you got?
Well, Walter Payton with 34.
Okay, Payton was good. Maybe it was like in the 80s, the 30s. What is Dorsett?
He was 28, wasn't he?
Earl Campbell was in the 30s.
Yeah, he screams in the 30s. OJ was 32.
Good running back. Yep. Very good running back, in fact.
Much better running back than Person.
Yeah. Marshall Faulk, 28. I think Dickerson was 28 too. 33 propane piece for Dorsett. New Strip to Troy says gelling us for the oil. Man, our number when it comes to like 20 for the Oilers, I think of David Oliver. Marcus Allen, good one. That one came in from Chicano. Yeah, Marcus Allen was a really good player. Wasn't he a fullback at one point? And they're just like, we got to move him to running back. And obviously,
You're too good.
You're too good of the fullback position. We don't need you there, but let's move you maybe to running back. And then you can have like a Hall of Fame career. Number 20 for the Oilers. A long list. Most recently, Quinn Hudson. Is Chris Lazar wearing 20? I thought I might have seen that. Slater Cuckoo, Gazdick, Toby Peterson, David Oliver. That's the one I remember. Boris Mironov was 20? I thought he was number 2. If you trust this website, Hockey Reference, the Oilers had 5 players were number 20 in 1994. Jeff Chikrin, Josef Cierny, Mark LaForge, Boris Mironov, and Brad Zawisza. If you trust it. That is wild. And then in 1988, they had 4 players wear it as well. Keith Acton, Steve Dykstra, Mo Mantha, and Scott Metcalf. Okay, I don't know if this website's accurate. That's a lot of turnover on a roster.
What number was Connor Halley back in the day?
I liked 15. because of Vince Carter.
Of course.
I liked 21 for LT. My football number was 2. I wanted a number in the 80s because that's a cool receiver number, but you gave me 2. What was your number?
23 for football.
23 is good for a DB.
Yeah, 6 for basketball.
Did you inspire LeBron?
I might have.
Some people are asking.
People are wondering.
34, Bo, Ricky Williams, number 34 as well. Jochen Hecht. Youngblood, 20. Mighty Cobra also were number 20, he says. Okay, so there you go. Cash Gilbert, Carson Anderson, Gage Koik, Barhead minor hockey legends who wore 20. Shout out Barhead. It's a good number. It's a clean number. I like it mostly in, I think, football and basketball. In hockey, maybe not as much. But a good one. Carl Racky, Youngblood. We're going into movies. Fictional number 20s. I couldn't even begin. Who was number 20 on the Mighty Ducks? Guy St. Germain. I don't even know what numbers they were. It's probably on the internet. Conway was 97, wasn't he? No, he was 96. Fulton, 44. Mendoza was 22. Oh, Guy Germain was 00, yeah. Averman, 4. Banksy wore 99. You can't wear 99 in any level of hockey, I don't think. You're just going to get chirped.
Yeah.
Bobo definitely wore 2 from Entourage from Calgary and Kevin. Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, maybe did Mironov just was it a game or something that happened? But I always remembered him in number 2. He laid out one of the most devastating body checks I've ever seen. Blue line. It's like one of my first hockey memories. And great nickname, Bobo. Lots to get to on the show still today. Eddie Steele's going to join us in about 10 to 15 minutes. We'll have Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. We're going to talk some Denver Broncos as well, Buffalo Bills, and then no spec today, unfortunately, but we will have Alan Mitchell sliding into the 5 o'clock spot. I'm sure you guys will be looking at the Elks, maybe the Philadelphia Eagles, and more. Declan, if we just jumped into the NFL for a second here. 3rd week of the preseason. Obviously, most of the starters are going to be coming out of the lineup, but maybe a little bit of intrigue. If I were to ask you with the Buffalo Bills, and you'll talk about this later on in this show, is there any camp battle that has intrigued you with that organization, being a fan of the team, that might make week 3 interesting for you?
Yeah, well, so it's not really a battle because he's playing behind Dion Dawkins, but Ryan Van Denmark, the left tackle, is a guy who apparently is really, because I'm not a big preseason watcher. Sorry, guys. He's a guy who's really struggled in preseason, apparently. Like, he was in the Chicago Bears game, was constantly false starting, was getting beat a lot. So he's someone to keep your eye on. Other than that, I don't know, like Cole Bishop, another guy who on the depth chart is listed as a guy who has the started free safety position, but apparently hasn't been playing too well. So I guess those would be the two positions to key on if you're a Bills fan like me.
I mean, I'm kind of a sicko when it comes to preseason. Like, I do like to see just, how the guys lower in the lineup are being coached up. Do they care? Are they tackling properly? Then there's always those guys like Brendan Rice for the Chargers, could be on his way out. But the depth pieces. But yeah, I mean, you got to be a little bit of a sicko if you're getting into week 3 of the NFL preseason. Even more so if you got into week 4 in a previous regime. Dallas the Farmer, hey boys, is 69 worn by anyone serious in sports? Offensive lineman in football.
Definitely, yeah.
Jared Allen wore it for a long time, a Hall of Famer.
Brett Boyko for the Elks.
Sebastian Joseph Day.
There's definitely like an all-time lineman who.
There has to be.
I think just not.
That's probably it, though. I don't think anyone. We looked it up. It wasn't banned in hockey, but it was kind of like frowned upon, unless you're Doug the Thug Glatt from whatever that movie's called.
Goon.
Line. Basketball, baseball, I don't think there's any players that wear that number.
No. 55's cold, though, but that's about the highest you'll get. Jay 55. Will was double nickel.
Matumbo?
Matumbo, 55? Yeah.
Junior Seau? Igor Ulanov?
Basketball jerseys are pretty lame. Like, they don't go higher than like 35, really. Jay Crowder, yeah. Heat legend. He was on that team that made the finals in 2020. He was guarding LeBron down the stretch. Locked him up. Not well enough.
Do you know what the most popular number in NBA history is?
Oh wow, that's a really good question. I'm gonna guess 33.
12.
Interesting.
It's been worn by 451 players.
Who's the best player to wear number 12? Yeah, I'm so bad with
What
numbers.
did Stevie Franchise wear?
3.
Oh. 12, like I'm like you. I can't. This stat just makes me think like who. This is from 2025, allegedly. But Jordan wore 12
for one game when his jersey was stolen by the Orlando Magic. But
okay, well he would be the one.
I gotta. There's got to be a graphic about this.
11 is the second most worn by 413 players, and then number 5 followed by number 3. We could name a bunch of number 3s, but also 2014, 15, 10, 7, and 4, all above 350 players to wear that number. How about Drew Gooden wearing number 90?
Also pretty cold. Bad player, though.
Has anyone else wear number 41? Instead of Dirk?
Not that I can think of. But again, I'm bad with numbers.
Such an obscure topic. 91, Dennis Rodman. Go.
Well, that one's obvious. Oh, Wes Unseld wore number 41. He was real good.
Ron Artest, number 93. The Nuge. He also wore 96.
Yep.
Number 98, Chet Abuchon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've heard of him. And the best number 99, according to this article, is George Mikan.
George Mikan.
Mikan. Oh,
Yeah,
don't
man.
correct me. Let me go.
Played in 1947 and 48 NBA MVP. BA at that time, I think.
So it looks like 94, 95 haven't been worn. Or 97.
Ever?
It looks like it.
Who's going to be the Connor McDavid of the NBA?
You'd think he'd inspire somebody. Maybe
Well,
Canadian.
I don't know how much crossover. Yeah, maybe. There's probably not a lot of crossover, though, between hockey fandom and basketball aspirers.
Granted, this list is from 2010. So in 15 years, maybe someone has worn it. Should Connor McDavid cross over to NBA, though? Like, he is unbelievable. Kobe wore the Gretzky jersey. You know,
That was cold.
He's not Gretzky, of course, but it's pretty good. What about number 0?
There have been some cold double zeros.
Well, Gilbert Arenas, Agent
He
O
was
was
Agent
always
Zero.
good.
Yeah, that was who's wearing double zero.
I think a goalie wore 00 in the NHL. Marty Biron. Allegedly. Oh. Yeah, and then I say John Davidson also did at various points between his career. 00's I don't think it's a good look. I hate 0 in NFL. Chargers have one, Dion Henley. I think he's a great player, but he'd look way better in like 56 or something like that. Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Swift. I think Burns did as well. I don't like it, Declan. I'm old school in that fashion. I want my linemen to be in like defensive linemen in the 90s. I want offensive linemen in the 60s and 70s. Receivers in the 80s, like CeeDee Lamb when he wore 88. Oh, what a look.
I like receivers in the single digits, or double digits, like low double digits. 17, great wide receiver number. But if you're a tight end, get number 84 on your body right now. You cannot be Gerald Everett and wearing number 8. Like, you just don't have enough aura for that.
Kyle
quite
Pitts.
frankly. He's okay.
If he
He's
changed his
allowed.
number to 88, he'd probably be good all of a sudden.
Because Kyle Pitts still might be sick.
Maybe. If you want to buy the
Poor
hype.
bump.
I hate seeing that. All of a sudden you just look up, oh, there's a defensive lineman wearing number 2. Just looks bad. It's fun for college, but at the professional level, I like when we keep it real. Way from Drayton Valley said USSR goaltender Trechak, amazing, number 20 back in the day. Yeah, I kind of like 20 for goalies. I think it looks cool. Doug Flutie wore 20 in college and then a little bit in the CFL, I believe. Aho for current NHLers. Jason said Lumley wore 20 in the 80s. Did a commercial with him back then. Very cool. Al Secord was 20. 20 is a good number. And we all started this conversation because of the Lotto Max tonight. estimated $20 million at playalberta.ca. Slippery Sean, who is the running back in Washington right now? Well, you asked Eckler. He is one of the running backs in the picture, but I'm curious what the usage will be like because, I think he's really at his best as a receiver out of the backfield where he can kind of make one guy miss and then just take off. But Jakubec, a.k.a. Bill Krosky-Merritt, is a guy who's been getting a lot of hype. They also have Chris Rodriguez Jr. on the depth chart and a guy you might remember from previous regimes, Jeremy McNichols. But if you believe the hype and you're playing in a fantasy league with a bunch of casuals and you can get Jakubec Krosky-Merritt later on, there might be some value there because people do tend to like him. We're going to take a break here. Cheap shot Charlie. Didn't Bonjour wear 0 for the Capitals? I don't remember Peter Bonjour wearing 0, but I'm going to look into it for sure and see if he did. Again, we'll take a break. When we come back, more text, of course. We're going to talk some Elks and Redblacks with former member of the Green and Gold, the Grey Cup champion, also co-host on Elks Nation, Eddie Steele. It is the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, and Josh Fenwick with you here on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, Facebook, YouTube, and X, brought to you by playalberta.ca.
Rivalries run deep in Alberta football.
Edmonton all the way.
Calgary rules. But when it comes to the best snack for 3-down fun, there's no Battle of Alberta. It's a clear winner.
Wilhock Beef Jerky.
The one thing every Alberta fan agrees on. So whether you're watching the game from your recliner or in the stands, make it a part of your game day.
Wilhock Beef Jerky. Because you don't win games with salad. Only available in Leduc.
How's your summer so far? Are you zipping around in your new truck from Wolf GMC Buick? If not, you should be. GMC employee pricing continues through August on our entire 2025 GMC Sierras, including the Sierra HD lineup. But just August. Who knows what September brings? Costco members save an additional $1,200 on our 2025 Buick lineup and all our new GMC Terrain. We're here for a good time, not forever. Buy the new reliable vehicle and treat yourself. Employee pricing, 0% financing at Wolf GMC Buick.
Mr. Rooter connects with Gen Z.
I have 84 followers, as my niece would say. Slay.
No, that's cringe.
How do I get more?
You're a plumber. Make a skibbity toilet joke.
A skibbity what now?
Or make a fashion calendar full of super hot plumbers, Plumbers with drip.
Young lady, I'd appreciate it if you'd stop acting so thirsty around my employees.
Burn, Uncle Mr. Rooter.
Slay.
For a plumber who cooks, call Mr. Rooter.
McDonald's Sundays and snack-size shakes are $2, or get $1 cones exclusively on the McDonald's app. With those prices, your hands are going to be full of treats, like Alex here.
My phone.
I got you. App download and registration required. At participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Center. TNA Wrestling makes its explosive debut at the Expo Center on Friday, September 26th and Saturday, September 27th for back-to-back nights. Buy your tickets online today. Learn more about what's happening at the Expo Center by visiting the calendar of events online at edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Tee off to win with Cattail Crossing's $10,000 hole-in-one challenge, powered by Sports 1440, Canada's first ever Aqua Range event. Just walk up, grab some golf balls, and start swinging. Or book a VIP bay today. Win $10,000 with a hole-in-one, plus great secondary hole and leaderboard prizes. Closest to the pin and monthly winners will battle for a $50,000 grand prize. The hole-in-one challenge, open Thursday to Sunday, noon till 8 through August. Weather permitting, cattailcrossing.ca.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
Halley, Declan Kruger, and Josh Fenwick with you here. The Jason Gregor Show brought to you by Playalberta.ca. Tonight, Lotto Max, an estimated $20 million. And then tomorrow, it is the 649 Gold Ball Jackpot, 44 mil. If you want to get in on that, head over to Playalberta.ca. Also, with your deposit, put in code word Gregor50. You get a free $50 bet. Use your GameSense AB.ca. The text line 1-833-401-1440. Also, a quick shout out to everyone watching on YouTube. Austin, we got on the road. JT Shark, he's on the road. Anyone else I might have missed in there, make sure you hit that like button. We appreciate you tuning in to the show. We got lots of text we're going to get to, numbers and all that sort of thing. But right now, we'll go in the room with Eddie Steele. In the room, brought to you by Action Electrical. They're the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta with 4 divisions in project, service tag, and solar for commercial or residential. Contact them today at actionelectrical.net. Grey Cup champion, former CFLer, also one of the 2 hosts for Elks Nation podcast. You can check out twice a week, wherever you get your podcast from, or on YouTube, Eddie Steele. Also, you can hear him on the Kevin Carrius Show Monday and Friday. Eddie, how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing awesome, Connor. How you doing, brother?
Doing good. Looking forward to the weekend, but we got a little bit ways to go before that. And I do have to ask you, Eddie, just remind me, NFL fan, are the Vikings your team?
Skol! Yeah, because growing up in Winnipeg, Minnesota was the closest team, of course. And actually, a little fun fact not many people know about me. I'm a dual citizen, and all my mom's side of the family is in the Minnesota region for the most part. Indiana, too, a little bit in Iowa, but throughout the Midwest there. And, I grew up a big Vikings fan. Randy Moss, man. My homepage on my first internet browser was mosszone.com. I grew up the biggest Randy Moss fan. He was by far and away my idol, my hero growing up out of any football player.
He was really cool. The one play I'll always remember is when he caught it against the Broncos, and I think lateral to, was it Mo Williams?
Over the back of his head,
back
right
of the
before halftime.
Yeah.
It was such a sick play. Yeah, he caught it for a nice big pass, flicked it back, scored a touchdown.
Yeah, he was a hell of a player. So what are your thoughts on the Vikings heading into this season with young JJ McCarthy getting his first start after missing all of last year?
You know what? It'll be interesting with JJ coming off of the injury. There's a lot of high hopes for him. And, me as a fan, I'm expecting pretty good things. They got him when they got him for good reason. And, with all honesty, Connor, the head coach, he is such a mastermind offensively. And we saw what they were able to do and revive the career of Sam Darnold, someone like who I thought was completely dead. I think most of us in the football world did think he was dead in the waters when, he's out there saying he's seeing ghosts on the sideline. Sam Darnold couldn't do a thing in the NFL, and he was a high-ranked prospect. Comes to Minnie under that tutelage, and boom, has a career year, gets paid. And many quarterbacks have succeeded through that offensive system.
No, like when it happened, it sucked for McCarthy going through that injury. We know it does. But, when you try to find that optimistic viewpoint on things, a year sitting behind Sam Darnold, learning, going through the meetings, like that could be really beneficial for him going into year 2 and starting to be the guy. And he's got a lot of weapons to work with. Like, you're never going to tell a player that it was a good thing for their career that they got hurt. But there are some positives that can come from this.
Yeah, without a question, man. That's a really good point, Connor. You're right. There is a lot of advantages to sitting back, watching, and just observing how a starting quarterback operates, how you prepare, and just the scheme in the system. Because now when you get out there, you can hit the ground running. You're not having to learn on the fly while the bullets are live. You can kind of know what the progressions are. You can go through the proper reads on time. And that should bode well for McCarthy. And we know he's a good athlete as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see if he can put that package together.
Yeah, Vikings adding some big names on their lines as well. They should be a fun team to watch. And that division is going to be absolutely tough with the Lions, the Packers, and the Bears probably improving as well. But let's talk about that quarterback and just transition it to the team we want to talk about, the Edmonton Elks, because, for Trey Ford, he hasn't really had that luxury of being told, hey, we're going to keep you out for an entire season and learn from it. It's maybe not a luxury, but he's been kind of a yo-yo, in, out, in, out. Now the team's winning, and obviously he's not going to get back into the lineup. But if you're Trey Ford, you're one of his teammates, maybe a vet there. What's the message to him and what he can learn, and what can be a benefit from this part of his career where he is watching Cody Fajardo?
The reality is Trey's got under 25 games started as a pro. Sit back and learn as much as you can from a guy who's been a Grey Cup MOP. Sit back and watch and learn from a guy who's been, when I was in the league and Cody Fajardo was just starting out, he was just known as a short third and one type quarterback where all he's doing is rushing it and sneaking it. And he had no offensive flow to him. But then year 4 or 5, he gets to Saskatchewan and boom, they anoint him and he flourishes. So I think there is some opportunity for Trey there to sit and learn from a guy. One thing that is quite interesting, and I get it for good reason, and look, I know Trey is not the biggest quarterback, but I've been thinking about this. Use Trey in short yardage situations. You don't have to be the biggest quarterback. Really, when you're in short yardage situations, it's the offensive line who the onus is on, who needs to displace bodies for 1 yard. Let's be real. And they have a yard advantage. And Trey can really, you see it with some of these quarterbacks, and you saw it in the Winnipeg game yesterday. You can get that edge. And with Trey's athleticism, you can really explode out there on that edge, or there's creativity to do things like some play action and some passing game. So that is one area I would like to get Trey involved in more. But getting back to your question overall, Connor, it can be a great learning experience for Trey because you can sit back and watch from a vet who's been there, done that, and has now succeeded at the highest level and been the MOP of the championship game.
Now, you can probably talk about this from a defensive lineman's perspective. And, the last few games here, I feel like the Elks defense has really come together. And there's probably not a coincidence there that it's been since Fajardo's taken over and having those sustained drives where, the linemen can get a little bit of a breather on the defensive side of things. It's quite the benefit for everybody here.
Oh, isn't it ever? I believe I've said this to you before, Connor, in the past, but one of the worst feelings as a defensive lineman is you get off of a pretty long drive. We'll say a drive that's 7 to 8 plays long. You're huffing and puffing. You sit down on the bench. And we know in the CFL things happen fast. Honestly, it's as quick as you sit down, get your water, and you hear the coaches saying on the side, punt alert, punt alert. And you're thinking, oh, my goodness, what? We got to get ready. We punting the ball away again already? And it's demoralizing. It's deflating. It's almost to a sense when it gets really bad, you're rolling your eyes, and it's like, oh, here we go again. But you got to buckle up the chin strap and you got to go and do your job. And that's what separates the strong defenses from the not strong defenses. They get the job done when, it's not ideal situations.
We had a text coming here from Shanked One, and he wanted me to ask you, do you think the Elks would ever use the rule in the CFL to allow quarterbacks on the field at once? Says it follows it up by just saying it's a shame to have Ford just watching. And, you kind of touched on it. The athleticism that he has potentially as a decoy could be something. But do you ever think we'll see a team really utilize 2 quarterbacks on the field?
Yeah, I think we should. In all honesty, why not? Take advantage and use some gimmick plays. There's so many opportunities to do sneaky things in the CFL game. Even just like we see it on special teams here and there where a team will sneak out a guy and kind of disguise him within their sideline, but yet he's standing in the field of play. Oh, and all of a sudden it's an onside punt because nobody saw him standing behind the punter. There's a lot of cool nuances that you can do. And with 2 quarterbacks, I would absolutely like to see it. And I don't understand why teams don't take advantage of it more, especially in a situation where you have quite an athletic freak in a Trey Ford. But something else that would be nice, a little call of action for the offense would be to see get Rank the Tank and Leak in the backfield at the same time and just try and utilize them, keep the defense on their toes a little bit because you don't know where the rock's going to end up. And the reality is both these guys are explosive, so they can hit home runs from anywhere on the field.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. And I remember, kind of banging that drum last year with Trey Ford, just thinking of all the speed you would have. And I think we saw it for a play Friday night. It didn't work out, but I would not be giving up on that formation because, like you said, if you have Leak and Rankin out there together, that is an absolute dangerous combination. And I mean, that leads me to my next question about Justin Rankin. We saw what he could do. I tweeted it out last week. Give this guy the ball 30 times because every time he touches it, it looks like he's going to make a play. What have you seen from him in his growth as a running back, especially going into his second year in the CFL?
Well, I don't know if it's just me, but they talked about it on the broadcast, and I don't know if it's just me, but he seemed really fast last game. Like, he seemed extra explosive and quick. He made his living in between the hash mark and the sideline. And it just seemed like he had a whole extra level to his game. Do you agree with me, Connor?
Oh, yeah. I think they had him clocked at like 31 kilometers an hour. And I think that wasn't even his fastest time, actually.
And, so feed him the ball. Absolutely. Because good things happen when you feed him the rock. So I want to ask you this: over, under for Rank the Tank for all you fellas, 22.5 touches.
I would be going way over. Well, maybe not way over, but over for sure. And whether it's going to be through the passing game. And I've really noticed that he's really become a quarterback's friend when the play breaks down. And, he gets out of the backfield, he finds a spot and just kind of sits in it. And then once he catches it, he's got that ability to make the first guy miss. And then he's off to the races. So I would say over if it's me. And that would be the game plan for every single game of the season.
Yeah, no doubt. Feed him. He's clearly the best player on offense right now. And things can open up the way they feed him and the way he is now focused as the main focal point of the offense. Well, with a running back that explosive, look at Winnipeg's offense, for example. They lean on Brady O a ton, but it opens up so much for the passing game and play action. Nick Dembski, those guys can make a living and, just chewing up the middle of the field because you get sucked up as a defender, a linebacker. You get sucked up on a play action after you've been getting gashed all game. So it can really open things up. And I'd expect to see that, in all honesty. We're going to see Ottawa really try and key in on Rank the Tank tonight. And I bet Edmonton's going to have some good adjustments off of that, and it's going to be nice to see what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't have any more of those games where he's getting 5 or less carries. That's just, it's not a balance. And you can talk on it as a guy who made a living rushing the quarterback or stopping the run. When the threat of the run game isn't there, I feel like the defensive lineman job gets a whole lot easier.
You're laughing. You're pinning your ears back and you're saying it's a race to the quarterback. Let's have a party back there. And then that's when you get real aggressive as a D-line and you start putting the bets down. Who's going to finish with the most sacks and most hits, because you're really confident out there. Because when you see a team just absolutely neglect the run game and ignore it, go away from it, it gives you the utmost confidence and the utmost advantage as a defensive lineman, because now you can get into pass rush games. You can set the O-lineman up with different moves and different situations like that. So it just allows you to really get exotic, really get into your bag, get into your book more, and just open up and expose these guys, because there's no threat of them just coming downhill and double teaming me.
Former CFL Eddie Steele joining us here, Grey Cup champion, now one half of the Elks Nation crew with Declan Kruger, 2 podcasts a week, available wherever you get your podcast from. And can you elaborate a little bit on that, just setting up the offensive linemen with different moves?
Yeah, it's all about the eyes, man. You got to capture their eyes and, lock eyes with the guy right across from you so he can't see what's going on. And you got to sell the move. It's kind of like, I was just saying this to my wife yesterday because she's about to do a big speech at a wedding. And with public speaking, you always can slow it down. And you think that you're going slow, but there's room to even go slower. And with your pass rush moves, you think you're selling it. You think you're making a good fake. No, there's always room to make more of a fake. And that's what the experience allows you, is to realize that you don't have to rush the moves. That was a big issue when I first got in the league. I sucked at pass rushing because I was just rushing everything. I didn't get coached well the way I should have at the University of Manitoba. I just wasn't prepared for pass rushing. And it truly is an art, because you have to turn yourself into a robot. You're stepping with the same hand, same foot. So it's quite opposite of how we are normally functioning as humans. But when you get it and you're able to sell those moves, it's awesome, because when you have guys like Almondo Sewell, Odell Willis, who are as well and beyond better pass rushers, it just allows you to do so much and to eat, man. That's what we always call it. We just feasted out there. And especially, like I say, I'll go back to this. If there's no threat of the run game, if you're only going to attempt 5 rushes, well, oh my goodness, that is worst case for you offensively, because here we go. We're going to tee off on you.
Now, let me ask you, game on the line, what would be your go-to pass rush move?
Oh, that's a good one. I would take them a hard inside move. So I'm going to line up. I'm going to be on the right side of the guy I'm facing. So picture there's a guy across from us. I'm on his right shoulder. I'm going to take him inside, and I'm going to club him super hard with I had a strong right club, man. I could put people on their butts with my club. And I would take him and I would sell an inside move, and then I would club hump him and just kind of come back and rip it through with my left arm. And that would open me up a lot of freedom for sure, Connor.
Now, just on, I could probably talk pass rushers for a while here with you. One of my favorite moves of all time was DeMarcus Ware when he was playing for the Denver Broncos, taking on the San Francisco 49ers. And he did a little half spin, looked like he was going to spin inside, but stopped, took it back outside. The offensive lineman had absolutely no chance. Were there any guys that you watched to try to steal some of their moves?
Absolutely. You're always watching guys. And I know that exact move, man. That was such a killer move. I never had the confidence to spin and to turn my back to the O-lineman. I hated spinning. I never did that. But that move where he did that fake little half step backwards, oh, that was crazy. And then brought it forward again.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
And I'm probably with you. If I spun, I'm not a defensive lineman, but I just imagine them getting me and then pancaking me, and then I'm down on the ground and coach is like, what are you doing? But if you're the confidence of DeMarcus Ware and the ability, I think Dwight Freeney was another guy who, the spins he would put out there were just unbelievable. So, oh man, okay, I'll probably go watch some of those highlights right now, actually, in our next commercial break. Eddie, what do you think happens tonight with this going for the green and gold? Do you think they make it 3 straight?
Yeah, they do. They make it 3 straight. If they're the team that we think they are, have the character that they have, the leadership that they have in that locker room, I am highly expecting of a double E win tonight. And I was a point off on both sides with my score prediction last week. And this week, I'm going to say 31-14 double E.
That would be nice. A big win. And we had AJ Jakubec on the show earlier, voice of the Redblacks. And, we talked about it in 3 of the last 4 games. The Redblacks have given up north of 30 points. So 31, I kind of like that pick right there.
All right, my man.
Awesome.
All right.
Eddie K, have a good weekend. And they can hear you, I guess, the Elks Nation podcast coming up next week. And then also you'll be with Carius on Monday.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Have a good weekend, Eddie.
Oh, one last thing I do got to say before I forget.
Sure.
Quick little plug here, Connor, if you may allow me.
Absolutely.
I'm a part of the Double E Alumni Association. I'm on the board there, and we're having the Jackie Parker Memorial Golf Tournament coming up, and there are 6 teams available left. It's an amazing tournament. It's a lot of fun. Sold out, obviously, to the gills, but I just wanted to put out the plug that there are 6 teams available. You can find all the information on the Double E Alumni Twitter, Double E Alumni website, and it's all going to be there for you to access if there's any interest out there.
Awesome. Good stuff. All right. Thanks a lot, Eddie.
Thanks a lot, Connor. Appreciate you, man.
There you go. Eddie Steele, favorite here on Sports 1440, former member of the Eskimos, Double E alumni, Grey Cup champion, also won at the University of Manitoba as well. So love having Eddie on. You can also check him out at Elks Nation, 2 weekly podcasts with Declan Kruger. We'll take a break here. When we come back, we'll get to Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. It is the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, Facebook, YouTube, and X, brought to you by Playalberta.ca.
Listen up, because you're not going to want to miss this. Right now is your chance to get in on Play Alberta's biggest offer ever. For a limited time only, new players can get up to a $1,000 casino bonus when they sign up. There's never been a better time to join the fun. Visit playalberta.ca today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
The Midsummer Sales Event is on now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. The all-new redesigned 2026 XC90 is here. Test drive the ultimate evolution in luxury. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60 from 0.49% and save $5,000. Finance or lease a 2026 XC40 from 2.99%. Come and discover the deals now at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. The Midsummer Sales Event is on now at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
The 8th annual Oilers Nation Open tees off Friday, August 29th at 9 a.m. A Texas scramble with fellow golfers, sports fans, and maybe even a few local personalities. Great shots, cold drinks, and a great cause. Gregor's Grads. Sign up at nationgear.ca.
It's the Bricks mattress sale of your dreams. Score dreamy deals like up to 40% off mattresses and queen beds starting at just $269. Get select king mattresses for the price of a queen and select queen mattresses for the price of a twin. Plus queen platform bases start at just $299. Score 20% off metal bed frames when you buy any mattress and get free local delivery when you buy any mattress on your Flexity card. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantork.com.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
McDonald's Sundays and snack-size shakes are $2, or get $1 cones exclusively on the McDonald's app. With those prices, your hands are going to be full of treats. Like Alex here.
My phone.
I got you. App download and registration required. At participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
There's something we need to talk about. Debt. It's an uncomfortable topic, but the truth is, most of us carry some form of debt, and we are ashamed to talk about it. My name is Parveen Middleton, a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. Every day, people struggling with debt come to me for a solution. When you make that call, I'll listen to your story without judgment and will lead you to a debt-free future. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 EEE. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the two best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Buy Canadian. They're terrific.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Enjoy a taste of Hawaii with Papa John's Aloha Trio. Try the classic Hawaiian, Super Hawaiian, or Hawaiian barbecue chicken pizzas for only $19.99 each at papajohns.ca and on the Papa John's app.
So here on Sports 1440, Connor Halley sitting in for the vacationing Jason. He'll be back not next week, but the following week. Declan Kruger here as well, as is Josh Fenn with the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by Playalberta.ca. Lotto Max, estimated $20 million tonight. Go check it out. And when you make your deposit, Put in code word Gregor50 for a $50 free bet. Make sure to use your GameSense, GameSenseAB.ca. Lots to get to on the show still, of course. A couple NFL segments we're going to get to later on. Well, in about 20 minutes time, we'll talk some Denver Broncos with Brandon Christo from Guerrilla Sports. We've also got John Scott from NBC Buffalo going to join us at 5:20, give or take. And at 5 o'clock, it is Alan Mitchell sitting in for Spec on the Spec Report. We'll let Declan call that whatever he wants. But that's how we're going to be doing this show today at 4:45 questions as well. Keep the text rolling in, 1-833-401-1440. Right now, we'll get to Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. Of course, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here on the Jason Gregor Show. Longtime sports reporter Cam Tate sends us his words, and today it comes in a font. With that being said, I'm going to read it. Here is Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. We're going to introduce a little something new today, and today only, kind of like Declan Kruger's Hi, My Name Is, but it's not like that. I'm going to talk about someone I've met in my 46 years in the sports media biz. And then, at the very end of the broadcast bonanza, I will reveal their name. Kind of like Paul Harvey's Rest of the Story. We don't have a name for it yet. That's Gregor's job. This week is a gentleman who I met spring of 1979, Crown Suite, Westin Hotel. He shared a few laughs, and one thing really stood out about my new friend. He squinted all the time. When we went for milkshakes, he squinted. Little side story, my friend likes milkshakes. Big time. One day we had planned a milkshake meeting and he was in a hurry. So my friend showed up at my place, small paper bag, 2 cartons of chocolate milk, and then shook the heck out of the little milk cartons. Put 2 straws in them and said, "There's your milkshake." Whenever I was dumped by a female in my 20s, he picked me up and we drove while I talked and talked. Now, Josh Fenwick over there, pay attention to this. My friend and his wife walked in 5 minutes before our wedding in 1995 with a wedding gift, wrapped in dark green wrapping paper with "Get Ready" gold ribbons. My friend had a rhyme for each of my girlfriends, including my late wife. Her name was Joan. So my friend came up with, "Oh, Joan, you make me moan." Okay, story. The last time I saw my friend was a little over a year ago. He came in for a reunion of a bunch of friends. We were sitting together and said, "Look at all these guys. They're still great friends. 40 years later. That's what makes a great team." He looked one more time. Squinting, of course. 2-minute warning. Kruger, Halley, Tate. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sports 1440. Who's your friend? That's where it ends. Cam.
Now, I was going to say, did we miss something here?
Who? Tater, you got to tell us who this friend was. When you said squinting, I thought to myself, sometimes I see myself on stream and I'm like, why are my eyes closed? They're not. My eyes are very small, I suppose. It's a great sell, but we didn't get the name, Tater.
Man.
You were following along, right, Declan? I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, of course.
Here.
No. I was looking to see if there was a second email that came in or something.
All right. Well, that's a great tease.
Now I'm wondering, are we the friends, Connor? Or is the friend we made along the way?
That's kind of what I was thinking. That's where the friendship lies. Well, when Tater lets us know who the friend was, we'll make sure we give that person a shout out. Or maybe that's the whole point of it. The friend is in all of us. Who doesn't like milkshakes? Although I was not invited to Cam's wedding, so it couldn't have been me or Declan. Declan, what's your go-to milkshake on the topic of that?
It's kind of a crazy one, but I like a strawberry milkshake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not too crazy. Pretty typical.
Pretty chalk.
I feel like strawberry, vanilla, chocolate, all kind of basic.
If I'm getting a blizzard, I'll go a little crazy. But if I'm getting a milkshake, I want chocolate, strawberry, or vanilla. I don't want to break the mold too much.
I don't even know what the other options are, to be honest with you.
I had a root beer float from Burger Baron not too long ago.
That'd be good.
Whoa! Someone just texted that in. Burger Baron root beer milkshake. Yeah, true. That's what I had.
I know Pete has a marshmallow. I remember Duke came back from drinking in Calgary and he got I think it was a marshmallow and then a raspberry milkshake, and Donovan was just cooking him for it. To me, they seem okay. Iron says,
whatever happened to you guys' Float Fridays?
That's a good point. You kind of fell off, and now summer's essentially over. I guess that's just segment in Radio Bit Graveyard. It's done. Cookies and cream milkshake. Slurpy Sean says. Burger Baron root beer milkshake. I had like a Oreo milkshake once. It was unbelievable. Also, Ian says, yeah, it's himself. Cam's his own friend. He talked to himself.
Was that the takeaway? I can't believe it was.
I don't think so.
Are we just too dumb to read between the lines?
No, I think it was missed. I think there. When did that email come in? Was it close to the deadline? Because maybe
that email came in. I'll tell you exactly what time it came in. 3:41 p.m.
That's it. That's close to the deadline. Maybe it was just forgotten. Black licorice milkshake, Vern? Sambuca flavored? That's a wild one. I bet the good thing about that is not many people would ask for a sip. But I do like black licorice, actually. Mighty Corpus, I used to like DQ's licorice milkshakes. Like red licorice or black licorice? Cat Dad would say, I blame Donovan for that. Obviously, the fall of Float Fridays, because he introduced it. Yeah, Donovan had a hot take that orange floats were like a top 3 dessert, when nobody would have floats as a top 3, let alone orange. But orange floats, pretty good. In the float category, I'd have them in elite tier, but not as a dessert. I don't think too many people are whipping up a float for dessert. You'd be in the minority for sure. The licorice DQ ones were grayish. Okay, well. I feel like a lot of people always went dilly bars there. I used to go for the ice cream sandwich. And then I made the jump to Blizzards. But give me a McFlurry, baby. Oreo McFlurry, add a little fudge in there. Actually, and I love their new holders. They do a good job of keeping it clean. Little cups now. First McFlurry I got, I thought it was a straw, the spoon. Could not for the life of me get any. And then I realized it was a spoon. That was a big day for the Halley household. We drove over to our local McDonald's on 178th and 97th. Loading up. Good times. So anyways, Cam Tate, when you get back to us, we will unveil who your friend is. A little bit of a mystery there. I'm hoping he's listening to the show and we get that quick sooner than later. As we mentioned, lots to get to on the program today. Of course, 5 questions coming up at about 4:40 with Declan Kruger. Looking forward to that. We'll also be talking some Denver Broncos. Brandon Christo from Guerrilla Sports will be by at about 4:20. Denver Broncos have to be one of the most intriguing teams going into this season. Defense last year, not always the biggest names, but had some really good games, even with injuries. Patrick Surtain, Defensive Player of the Year, fantastic, eliminates half the field. And then offensively, Bo Nix can get the job done. They draft running back in RJ Harvey. Got some nice receiving weapons as well. Evan Ingram signs there after being released by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it's a tough division. I think we could see 3 teams from the AFC West going into the playoffs, with the Chiefs and Chargers being there as well. But it wouldn't surprise me if the Broncos, this was their year to maybe topple Kansas City. We'll have to see how it all plays out. At 5:20, we'll be joined by John Scott from NBC Buffalo, talk about the Bills. I think that division probably pretty easy to pick. I think the AFC East goes through Buffalo, and then Lowtide will be by as well. Maybe talk some Philadelphia Eagles, maybe some Oilers, maybe some Major League Baseball. Jays are in action tonight, taking on the Marlins. Shane Bieber going to make his debut for the Jays. Vlad Guerrero will not play with I believe, hamstring is the issue. So probably one of those things at this point of the season, let him rest up. You don't want to make it any more serious than it is, but I wouldn't expect him to be out for a serious amount of time. Before we get to break here, I think we got to get to a Sports 1440 update with our very own Declan Kruger. Brought to you by Cattail Crossing. Juniors aged 5 to 17 crushing it every Wednesday night. Sign up now for August classes for a summer of fun out at Cattail Crossing.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Edmonton Elks game day. They will take on the Ottawa Redblacks in about an hour and a half's time here. Kickoff out in Ottawa, and Dustin Crum getting the start for the Redblacks in this one. 49ers have acquired Brian Robinson from the Washington Commanders for a 2026 6th-round draft pick. The Wild are signing RFA Marco Rossi to a 3-year, $15 million deal. MLB action will get going at 4:40 with the Rockies and Pirates. At 5:10, it's going to be the Blue Jays and Marlins out in Miami. Shane Bieber on the mound for that one. And as you just heard, Vlad Guerrero out of the lineup with an injury. In the Tour Championship, through 2. It is Tommy Fleetwood and Russell Henley tied for the lead at 13 under. Highest ranked Canadian Nick Taylor at 6 under. Corey Connors 23rd at 3 under. CPKC Women's Open sees Aki Iwea leading the way at 9 under. 2 under on the day. Megan Cannon of the U.S. in second. Brooke Henderson tied for 6th at 5 under. And Aphrodite Dang tied for 13th at 3 under. I'm Declan Kruger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440 Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada with sports and entertainment properties, including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League's Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Want some good news? St. Albert Dodge is holding the biggest sale of the year on their in-stock Ram 1500 Sports. Every single one on the lot is discounted by a whopping $14,000. Yeah, 14 grand. And St. Albert Dodge has the best selection in Alberta. Over 90 Ram 1500 Sports to choose from with great packages, including the Night Edition and GT models, all $14,000 off the ticket price. Get down there and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Are you an elite athlete or weekend warrior and you just want to enjoy playing the sport you love with less or even no pain? Have you tried every exercise and stretch imaginable, hoping the next one might do the trick? Well, you tried analog. At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe healing can move along better and sometimes even faster with evidence-based technology techniques and the people who know how and when to apply it. StimPod, zero-gravity treadmills, radial shockwave, and so much more at your fingertips when you click to find us at leadingedgephysio.com.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Landscaping this summer? Call Bashaw Concrete Products. That's right, more than concrete. Their landscaping division has everything you're after. A huge selection of P-rock, washed rock, and sand, gray limestone, red shale, mulch, compost, landscape fabric, and topsoil. Plus, the full line of Barkman products, including pavers, retaining wall blocks, fire pits, and precast planters. Landscape products made for your outdoor living space. Residential or commercial, start here. BashawConcrete.com and follow them on Facebook.
For all things golf carts, it's the Golf Cart people. Their certified techs provide expert service from maintenance to custom upgrades. Customers can explore the sales floor for new and used Club Car, Yamaha, and E-Z-Go models. The Golf Cart people stock a wide variety of parts and accessories to keep every ride in top shape and offer convenient rentals for tournaments, weddings, and festivals. Trusted for sales, service, parts, accessories, and rentals since 1997. Visit the Golf Cart people at golfcartpeople.com, your complete golf cart solution.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. From weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer to grandparents in the garden. Rotator cuff tears and tendonitis to post-surgical knees and hips. Refix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, Facebook, YouTube, and X, brought to you by Playalberta.ca. With your deposit, put in code word Gregor50. You get a $50 free play at Playalberta.ca. use your GameSense, GameSenseAB.ca. Now, we did get the response in from Cam Tate, but I want to have a little fun with this one, so I know who it is. But in the honor of Declan's little name drop in Cam Tate's 2-minute warning, here's some hints, and you can try to guess who it is. He was drafted in 1963, round 4, pick 50, by the San Francisco 49ers as a wide receiver out of Washington State. Declan, do you know the answer? Did you get the email? Okay, so the text came in. I'm going to just list off a couple more clues as we roll along here, and people can text in, and I want to see who the first person to get it will be. He was a head coach of the Edmonton Eskimos from 1977 to 1982. He would also become the GM from 86 to 97 and the president and CEO from 1998 to 2006. After his time in Edmonton, he would coach the Houston Oilers for 2 years. And as a player, he played with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. 4-time Grey Cup champion as an administrator, 5-time as a head coach. And as a player, he won a Grey Cup with the Riders in 1966. He was a 2-time CFL All-Star and a 4-time CFL West All-Star and a Canadian Football Hall of Famer in the year 2000. The texters, you're right. Crotch, Todd, Colin, and the more that are rolling in here, Hugh Campbell. So there you go. There's your answer. That's who it was. So you and Hugh Campbell, he was the one who had the eye squint, would go for milkshakes, Tater. I liked that. From all reports, great man. So very, very good one. Now I'm looking forward to the next one. I guess that'll be next Friday when we get another edition of your version of Who Is It on the show. And a lot of listeners are actually getting it here. Hugh Campbell. I think that's a pretty easy one for those paying attention. We should have talked on it a little bit in case those missed it. Yesterday on the show, we had mentioned that the Minnesota Wild were getting a little bit closer to potentially an extension with Marco Rossi and what it might cost to keep him in Minnesota. And then there was also talk of a potential trade. Didn't happen. It was a 3-year, $15 million contract for Rossi, who remained with the Minnesota Wild for an extra 3 years. He had 24 goals and 60 points last season in 82 games. In the playoffs, 6 games, had 2 goals and another helper. Ice time, 18 minutes per game. And in the playoffs, just 11 minutes. So don't know if that was a injury or whatever it might be. But Marco Rossi staying with the Minnesota Wild. So a good move for them for sure. A guy who I would think still has some room to grow in his game. And no trade. He's not going to the Vancouver Canucks because there were some trade reports that might be an option. Shay from Hamilton. Are we speaking of the Hugh Campbell? Absolutely. Tater rolls with a very impressive crew. He's got some good people in the posse. The Elks are in action tonight, taking on the Ottawa Redblacks. I'm going to be down at Billy Bud's Lounge, 98th Street and 63rd Ave for the Elks watch party. If you want to come by, have a bite to eat, have a drink. Lots of cool prizes. And we play bingo at these things, Declan. Are you a bingo guy?
Never been much of a bingo guy. Never been to bingo, actually. It was cool to do it like in the classroom. You know what I mean? Like when you were a kid and the teacher was having like a fun game kind of day. But never played actual bingo in a bingo hall or anything like that.
This one's actually fun. Like it's all football stuff. So it could be like receiver celebrates a first down, which is almost an automatic. Or defensive back celebrates breaking up a pass. Right. Even if a DB doesn't break it up, he's going to celebrate. So you get to punch those off. And then all you have to do is bring it up to us and you win a free prize. And they got some great stuff from Elks and Coors Lights. So always a fun time down there.
What's the coolest prize you've given out?
Oh, we used to do the Coors Light mini fridge. That was a popular one. Actually, Lance, who I think is watching on YouTube right now, I gave him a Coors Light, like a big old umbrella, sunbrella, whatever. It was so big. It was hard, like it was cumbersome. Gave it to Lance. I think he still uses that. We do $200 gift cards to the location we're at for their next visit. So that's pretty handy. Jerseys. There's lots of good stuff. So yeah, if you want to come out and watch the game, be at Billy Bud's, some pizza specials I've been told, and some wing specials. It'll be a good time. I'll be zipping out there around 5 o'clock. Declan and Josh will take over to wrap up the show on this positive Friday edition of the Jason Gregor Show.
Gonna bring the heat.
Are you?
I'm gonna make it argumentative with low tide.
Also, like, really get after him.
Yeah,
for
sure.
The Expos should never return low tide.
It's gonna be skipping Stephen A.
It failed for a reason and just started yelling at each other. What do you think would be the question that would make him the most mad?
Well, I don't think anything would get him mad, but we disagree on some points, with the Oilers, most notably Stuart Skinner.
Yeah.
So that would be, but it's also a little bit overdone.
It's August 22nd, right?
Yeah.
Lance says, I do rock the umbrella once in a while. It is a big umbrella. Yeah. Some fun prizes there. They've got, right now, we've got, at the last watch party, we had these little shot glasses that looked like golf balls, which were kind of cool. Fans, speakers, all sorts of things like that. Little knickknacks that you just love to leave a watch party with. Lanyards, of course. Oh, all the good things like that. That Kurzman you're watching for this game tonight, maybe, and let's take away like Fajardo and Rankin. Is there anyone on this Elk offense that you think could be an X factor in this game?
Well, I guess Stephen Dunbar Jr. is always a guy who could kind of be the X factor. He's kind of the number one target in that receiving core. Benjamin Victor, like he's a guy who was on the practice squad to start the season. This will only be his third game, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
He's not blowing you away with his numbers or anything, but every time he gets the ball, he's got a little bit of a bag to him. Like he seems to be pretty sure-handed. I've liked what I've seen from him. Like I'm not expecting him to ever be a guy who's going to break out for 150, 120 yards, whatever it is, but he's a guy who I'm always curious to watch players like that, like guys who, start the season on the practice roster and then get the call. Like Kenny Logan on the defensive side of the ball was another one for that reason. So him, Curley, I'm all, with the price tag, I'm always interested to know how he's going to show up and perform in the game. And again, like he hasn't blown anyone away with his numbers or anything like that, even though he, maybe should be doing it when you factor in the dollar amount. But I'd say those are two guys I'll be keeping my eye on in the skill position. And then on the offensive line, Gregor McKellar and Brett Boyko, that right side hasn't been great, so definitely going to keep an eye on them, see what they get up to.
It's kind of one of those things too in football. Like if you are struggling and it continues to happen, other teams are going to take notice, right? And they're going to continue to attack that.
Oh yeah.
So you're going to get a chance to potentially bounce back and do a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, week to week, that's been a spot where I think teams have attacked.
But I will say they definitely did, because that was the side that was going up against Andrew Chatfield last week, league sack leader coming into the game. He had no sacks, only had the one tackle. So they did step up in that capacity.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And you know what? I think, on top of that, like pass protection, it's going to evolve throughout the season here. I am intrigued to see what Coach Maximic and the rest of this offense do as the season continues. Like, I guess to start the year, you're probably a lot of game planning around Trey Ford and hopefully trying to utilize his athleticism. Cody Fajardo, as we've discussed, he came into the league as that was kind of what he was, like a short downage quarterback, third stringer, just getting those touchdowns. Obviously, he's evolved quite a bit, but do you think the football IQ, and I don't mean this as a knock on Trey Ford, he just hasn't been doing it as long as Cody Fajardo, but do you think having Fajardo in there, Declan, all of a sudden you can start to open up the playbook a little bit more? Because I feel like, and maybe it's Fajardo holding onto the football, I want to be responsible, but I feel like there's an opportunity to potentially take some more shots downfield.
Yeah, like I feel it's a little bit more style of quarterback, if anything. Like Cody is just more like he's a calming pocket passer, and Trey's a little bit more happy feet, Lamar-esque, make the exciting play kind of guy. And it's worked out for him in spots, but with Cody, there's just a little bit more of the, conventional quarterback isms, if you'll say. And I think that definitely lends to the fact that they are, like you said, able to take some more shots down the field and there's just a little bit more confidence with the receivers in the passing game. The receivers just have a little bit of an understanding that, like, when they get out of their break and turn their head, the ball will be there. They won't, look back and see the quarterback scrambling around. So just things like that, I would say.
And you miss some of the excitement. Like there's times, I guess, when Cody Fajardo kind of rolls out and you're like, oh, that's Trey Ford. He's running for it. That's a first down. But that's the give and take you're going to have when you make the switch up there between the two quarterbacks. I'm looking at the defensive line tonight as well. Barlow, Brinkman, Serezna, Smith. Those are the guys. Got to continue the pressure there. You know what you're going to get from Niles Morgan. Have you liked Dublanco? A guy like I see him and he's got that speed, Declan. It seems like side to side. Like he's always around the football.
Yeah, well, his first game he came in, he was definitely nervous. He was taking some angles that were less than desirable. Not last game, but the game before. He missed a few good tackles in the Montreal game. Overall, I've been pretty impressed with what I've like. He's a really athletic guy who, like, when you finally get a shot to come and play in the lineup, like, you're going to play with a little bit of nerves. You know what I mean? And he was playing that way. But overall, I've been pretty happy with Joel DeBlanco. Like, you definitely would have liked it to be better in spots in the Montreal game, like I said, but I don't think you can be too mad overall. Maybe you can be mad for a number one pick. That's one conversation. But for a guy who's backing up Nick Anderson, like, you're not going to be Nick Anderson. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know what I mean? I think it's a good opportunity for DeBlanco to get out there and get reps, obviously, get some game reps and get used to the speed. Because I do think he's a guy, in the upcoming future, the near future, I think they are going to hope to have him out there and be able to contribute on defense and hopefully become a game breaker, make some big time plays. Obviously, like you mentioned, unfortunately for the Elks, Nick Anderson not going to be out there. They certainly do miss him. He's another guy who just flies to the football along with middle linebacker Miles Morgan. But you know what? I think as a group, they're starting to play a little bit better here and should be a fun one. 5:30 kickoff. And as we heard earlier on in the show from AJ Jakubec, this is a little Ottawa team that is struggling. I mean, they've got the injuries. That's going to make things a little bit tougher. When you've got to make the rotations along the line and in the secondary, it's tough for them to have a perfect game. There's going to be breakdowns, miscommunication. So I am intrigued to see if the Elks are looking for that, maybe have some certain plays called where you do have a guy going deep downfield, just in case there is that breakdown and a chance to potentially just chuck it. Heave it on down there. Blue Jays in action tonight. We did talk about that Vlad Guerrero Jr. not going to play with a hamstring. Now, good news if you're a Blue Jays fan and you're going to be out and about, can't watch the game on TV, we've got you covered here on Sports 1440 on weekends, Saturday and Sunday. So they'll take on the Marlins. Both games you can listen to here on Sports 1440 radio feed only. If you go to the online stream, you will get Fox Sports Radio, but if you go on the radio, listening in your car, you can listen to the sweet tones of AM radio baseball. Takes me back to a simpler time, riding around, listening to baseball. It's always a good thing there. Now, we can also talk Oilers if you guys would like to. Just kind of a slow time in the NHL offseason. Not the craziest amount of things to get to. We've kind of broken it down already this week. Line combinations, not too crazy. There was actually someone talking about how Klim Kostin had hoped to get a PTO with the Edmonton Oilers. And there seems to be a lot of people out there that just love the idea of bringing back Klim Kostin. And I get it. Like, you remember the good times. He was certainly a guy who stood up for his teammates, offensively showed up when he could, got his payday. Can never fault the guy for that one. But we also have to remember, I think there were some defensive liabilities in his game, and at times he was taken out of the lineup. But if there is any PTO, I don't know if Edmonton's the team you want to go for, especially if you have hopes of playing in Edmonton, because the team is, I would think, pretty much set. If someone came in here, they would have to do a heck of a job in the preseason to end up with this team. It's loaded kind of top to bottom, and I think most spots are pretty much occupied. On the flip side, if you did feel that the Oilers were a good team to play some preseason games with and to get a chance to play with some top-end talent, you don't have to sign with a team that offers you the PTO. It doesn't lock you into that team. You could sign elsewhere like we saw in the past here. So I'm intrigued a little bit with Klim Kostin. I'll have to go take a look and see his exact statistics from last year. And I remember in the playoffs last season, he actually came to Edmonton and was in the crowd for the playoffs and put on a jersey. So maybe there is some interest there. That would obviously be a previous regime. Jay Woodcroft was the head coach when Kostin was here, and Holland would have been the GM. Now, obviously, we know that you got Chris Knobloch and Stan Bowman, so not one of their guys, but he'd be an intriguing one. And I, from all accounts, well-liked in the room. Still just 26 years old. Played last season with the San Jose Sharks, appeared in 35 games, had 7 points. His big season came with the Oilers, 57 games played. He had 11 goals and 21 points, 66 PIMs. So we'll have to see if there's any mutual interest there. There were some reports that Klim had hoped to potentially get a PTO with the Oilers, but nothing verified 100%. You can let us know if you think that would be a good option for the Oilers, or if there's anyone else out there. The position that we've all talked about in the past about, where you might want to look for the goaltending position, but how many are going to get on a PTO offer? we talked about it with Yaremchuk on Wednesday. If it were to happen, and the Edmonton Oilers, did make a change at goaltending throughout the season, it's probably because, things didn't go too well. And if nothing does change, then it's probably a good sign that Aubrey, new goaltending coach, comes in here and kind of turns things around for the Oilers. And Stuart Skinner, Calvin Pickard, obviously going to be back. Salary cap is another thing. We've had a few people talk about bringing in another goaltender and what it might cost you. You also have to factor in that the Oilers are going to be tight up against the cap. And I think that's probably the biggest factor right now. Later in the season, maybe things change a little bit. We had a text also. I apologize. I didn't have the name there. Any nerves about Connor McDavid not signing a contract yet with the Edmonton Oilers? An extension, obviously going into the final year of his deal. No nerves yet. I think the date that might concern me would be puck drop of the opening night. If there wasn't a deal done yet, Leon Draisaitl took a little bit of time for his contract to get signed. He got the job done. I think by all accounts, Connor McDavid will be signing with the Oilers probably within the next month. So for me personally, Declan, no stress as of yet, but I get it as a sports fan. Those thoughts kind of creep into your mind. What if it doesn't happen sooner than later? But I would assume when Connor McDavid gets into camp and probably shortly after the Olympic orientation camp they're doing down in Calgary, that contract would get done and lock up his time, confirm his time in Edmonton for a few more years. What's the number going to be, Deck? You got an idea? 16 and a half, 4 years. That'd be good. Nice payday. Absolutely. That was the oil report brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. The all-new redesigned 2026 XC90 is here. Come in for a test drive today. Great vehicles, better service, only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. When we come back, we're going to talk about a team who could potentially make a push for the division. And could they make it into the playoffs and go on a little bit of a run? We'll discuss it next here on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, also streaming on Oilers Nation, Facebook, YouTube, and X, brought to you by Playalberta.ca.
It's the Bricks mattress sale of your dreams. Score dreamy deals like up to 40% off mattresses and queen beds starting at just $269. Get select king mattresses for the price of a queen and select queen mattresses for the price of a twin. Plus, queen platform bases starting at just $299. Score 20% off metal bed frames when you buy any mattress and get free local delivery when you buy any mattress on your Flexity card. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for detail. The Brick, saving you more.
McDonald's sundaes and snack-sized shapes are $2, or get $1 cones exclusively on the McDonald's app. With those prices, your hands are going to be full of treats. Like Alex here. My phone. I got you. App download and registration required. At participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. Delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle noodle.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
5 trails blazed where others turn back.
15 secret swimming holes discovered.
50 incredible sights that made it all worthwhile.
Measure your Tacoma's reliability and memories, not just the mileage. It's time to Toyota. Lease a 2025 Tacoma 4x4 double cap SR5 from $115 weekly for 60 months at 6.79% with $7,699 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Every morning, you look in the mirror and see less of yourself. Hair loss can feel like losing a part of who you are.
But it doesn't have to be that way. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we understand the pain of hair loss. Our advanced hair restoration solutions won't just bring back your hair, they'll help you face the mirror with confidence.
Good morning, you sexy beast.
Visit drvanceelliott.com today because it's time to be the man you remember.
Ford employee pricing is on now, and you pay what we pay on the Ford you want. Visit your Alberta Ford store or Ford.ca today.
Hey everybody, it's Gene Principe, the Prince of Puns, and I've got something that definitely will float your boat. How would you like to join me and the superstars of hockey on an exotic holiday? Join us on a 7-night cruise through the Mexican Riviera, leaving from LA and including Cabo, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, and more. While we relax and cruise the tropical waters and have some drinks with umbrellas in them, you could attend an intimate meet and greet with legends like Bill Ranford, Jason Strudwick, Kelly Buchberger, Ron Lowe, and more. Don't miss out on every hockey fan's dream cruise, the Edmonton Hockey Legends Cruise. It's going to be one haul of a trip. Prices start at just $23.99, and part of the proceeds support the Ben Stelter Foundation and Kids with Cancer.
Visit cast.tours/Edmonton or call 1-833-347-7678. Call and save $200 when you mention promo code Stingray Radio. Cast Tours, 1-833-347-7678.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. What's the best way to beat the tariffs? You buy Canadian. Cantork's products normally made in Canada, but they're made right here in Edmonton. Save money, support Canada at Cantork.com.
Welcome back. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley. We got Declan Kruger and Josh Fenwick with you here. Positive Friday edition of the show, the Jason Gregor Show, as always, brought to you by Playalberta.ca. Tonight, an estimated $20 million at the Lotto Max draw. Also tomorrow, 649 Gold Ball jackpot, $44 million. You can buy your ticket at Playalberta.ca. The text line 1-833-401 if you want to get in on the conversation. We are going to take a look at the Denver Broncos going around the NFL, brought to you by McDonald's. Cool down with the $2 Sunday and snack size shake, or check out the McDonald's app for an exclusive $1 cone deal. Taxes extra, prices exclude delivery. Now that's where you might want to go for a Sunday or a milkshake snack size. Really good deal here. We are going to try to catch up here with Brandon Christo of Gorilla Sports, talk some Denver Broncos, as the Broncos, pretty good offseason, brought in some nice players to help out on the defense, stealing from the San Francisco 49ers, getting a Drake Greenlaw and then Talanoa Hufanga as well. In the draft, they bring in a nice addition to the secondary, Jedi Barron, who we think is going to be playing in the slot, first-round pick out of Texas, former Longhorn. Hopefully they'll have Alex Singleton back in the lineup, recovering from injury. Nick Bonito had a great year rushing the passer, a former second-round pick, kind of living up to the hype. Zach Allen got a contract after coming over from the Cards a couple years ago, and now, Patrick Strahan II. I believe they call him PS2, one of the most dynamic corners in the NFL. When he's out there, he's eliminating players from the game plan. So the Denver Broncos going to be a tough matchup for a lot of teams. Then you look on the offensive side of the football, and some good players like Evan Ingram, a free agent. He was taking visits with multiple teams in the offseason, decided to sign with the Denver Broncos. He'll be a good spot with the tight end. The running back position, you got J.K. Dobbins, who comes over from division rival LA Chargers last season, had a pretty good year. A little bit of injuries, but really good bounce back, all things considered. This guy had a lot of injuries with the Baltimore Ravens and looked really good with the Chargers, gave them a good rushing threat. But RJ Harvey, I think that's going to be another really good battle. Quarterback position, Bo Nix in year number 2. I think most people would think you're going to take another step. I mean, it's not a lock by any means. We saw it with CJ Stroud, and he struggled a little bit going into his second year. But the Denver Broncos, I don't know. With all due respect to Stroud and the coaching staff down in Houston, it did result in Bobby Sloak being fired. I think Sean Payton, Joe Lombardi will have a pretty good plan for Bo Nix and trying to build off that good rookie year. He comes in, he's not 22 years old. He's 25, had the long collegiate career at Auburn and then going over to the Oregon Ducks. But last season, good year, 29 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. I'm sure they'd love to cut back on that a little bit. I know he was also pretty high up when it came to quarterbacks that, percentage-wise of throws at the line of scrimmage or behind. That's not necessarily a bad thing to me. I mean, that works for a rookie quarterback. That's how you get them into it and let them see things. Change that maybe going into year two, a little more aggressiveness and throwing the ball downfield. But for the Denver Broncos, a lot of things going to the positive direction. The division is tough. Going against Kansas City is always going to be hard. We know how good that team is and what they've been able to do as of late. Even if you think they're on a decline, they're still former champions, longtime divisional champions, and now they just win football games. When games get close, they know exactly what to do. Chargers, the injury to Rashawn Slater is tough. When you have two big tackles like they do with Joe Alton Slater, it's really a beneficial thing because you can eliminate both of those pass rushers. Without Slater, Joe Alt moves over to the left side, and then the right side's Trey Pipkins. He's an okay backup, but he was replaced for a reason in this Chargers offense. So that they should be okay. And then you got the Vegas Raiders as well. Good team. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe on the upswing. I think Pete Carroll building the culture there is going to be a really good idea. And then getting in Geno Smith certainly is not going to hurt. But we do have Brandon Christo joining us now from Guerrilla Sports, covers the Denver Broncos. Brandon, good afternoon. Thanks a lot for doing this. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great, Jason. Good to see you and happy to join you. It's funny because as I was hopping into the waiting room, you're talking about the Broncos running back breakdown. I was just on the phone with a buddy of mine out in Los Angeles who's got a fantasy draft tomorrow and another one Monday, and he's trying to get some insight as to how the Broncos are going to handle the running back, the split of the carries, with Dobbins, with Harvey, as well as who the number 2 receiver is. And when you look at the move they just made, I kind of hurt his feelings because he's like, it's definitely going to be Mims, right? I was like, let's pump the brakes there, and kind of broke it all down for him. But I do think the Dobbins Harvey thing is going to be interesting, especially for fantasy players. That Harvey's getting drafted in right around the 6th round, and Dobbins is going a lot lower. I think early on, Dobbins may end up getting a good chunk of the work, not because they don't trust Harvey in terms of what he can do on the field and especially in pass protection, but because I think that Harvey is a rookie and Dobbins is a vet. And while he's healthy, you got to get the most out of him.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, Dobbins on that 1-year deal. I'm kind of intrigued to see what happens next year. That's a long ways away, but having RJ Harvey there for the long term, probably a good sign. So what kind of back is RJ Harvey? Like, what have you seen from him that makes you think he could be a guy that could potentially, take some carries from Dobbins down the road?
Well, so I don't want to pretend like I watched a lot of UCF football, but I watch more than some because they're in the Big 12 now. I went to the University of Kansas and covered the University of Colorado loosely. I don't want to pretend like I'm there for every day because I'm busy covering the Broncos, but at a handful of Buffs games, and obviously with what they had going with Dion and of course Shador and Travis Hunter, you watch all their games. And RJ Harvey, who they were part of the leading rushing attack in the country going into that game, CU's defense kind of shut him down, but he still ends up leading the Big 12 in rushing. And you see his workout at the combine, and actually UCF made a really cool edit of him running the 40 and then editing it to a breakaway long touchdown. He's really fast. He's got a really big lower body. That's something Sean Payton talks about. He's like, running backs, it's one thing to be short, but they can't be small. And so he's not small at all. He and Dobbins are built kind of similarly. Dobbins may be a touch taller. The one thing about Harvey that is, I think, a big factor into why he's going to play sooner than later in terms of being a part of their passing game is, one, he wasn't asked to catch the ball out of the backfield a lot at UCF, but he's shown an ability to do that pretty easily, to run good routes. Is he was a really, really good high school quarterback in Orlando. And Orlando is obviously a big metro area that's put a lot of kids into college football and plenty of kids into the pros. Now he's only 5'9", but he was playing in the biggest classification in the state of Florida, and he threw for 43 touchdowns as a senior. That's not running the option and throwing 18 touchdowns. You guys may remember C.J. Anderson, who was obviously a good running back for the Broncos for a bit. He was basically a triple option quarterback in Vallejo, California, the same place Marshawn Lynch is from. But at 5'8", he had I think something like 18 touchdowns and 30 on the ground or whatever. RJ threw for 43 touchdowns his senior year and went to University of Virginia to be a quarterback. And so I'm saying all that, he never actually got on the field there, was at UCF for 4 full seasons. but he sees the game like a quarterback. And whenever you talk to players that'll talk about, oftentimes you hear it about like a Julian Edelman, who was a college quarterback, Wes Welker, who was a high school quarterback. But when other positions, CJ was a really good, a really good contributor in pass protection because he does see the game like a quarterback. It just gives you a dynamic that you don't always have. Some running backs, it's get the ball, find the hole and go, or get to the open space and go. Well, RJ Harvey he's got that football IQ that I think will help him throughout his entire career, but get on the field early. We saw him run through a pretty tight hole and find the end zone in the preseason game against Arizona the other day. And so I think they're likely not going to keep Audric Estime, who's definitely their biggest back. Harvey and Dobbins are about the same size. Harvey may weigh a little bit more. So that could be another reason to have him on your fantasy team is when they get down there in short yardage, he may be the guy that they use to pound it in more than Dobbins.
Now, looking at the quarterback position, Bo Nix, I mean, maybe some people were surprised last year when the team selected him, but it's clear that Sean Payton and Lombardi got their guy, and he was fantastic last year, looked really good. Going into year 2, what are your expectations for Bo Nix?
It's funny because if you look at where the betting numbers are, they have him throwing for less yards. He threw for almost 3,500 and only 24.5 touchdowns. And I'm thinking he now has Evan Ingram. He's a year more familiar with the system. He brought it up last week, but I had been talking about it kind of throughout the spring and summer. This is the first time since his senior year of high school where he's had the same play caller year over year. And it just happens to be perhaps one of the best play callers to ever do it at any level. When you look at what Sean Payton's been able to do in the NFL, not only with Drew Brees, but when he was in Dallas, when he was calling the offense for the Giants, Sean is a very creative play designer and a really great play caller. And so, and you may have seen the clip, or some of your listeners and viewers may have seen when he was talking to Kay Adams about last year, he kind of just memorized everything. And so he knew it, but now he really understands it. And so can build on that. And so I think you're going to get a guy that's more comfortable in the offense. And he did have a well above average rookie of the year type season had Jaden Daniels not done what he did. He actually threw for more touchdowns than Jaden, and he ran for 4 as well. You know, that 29-12, that's close to 3-1. You'd rather it be like 35-8, but I definitely like the over on 24.5. Now, I don't know if he's jumping from 29 touchdowns as a rookie to 39, but I won't be surprised if he touches 30 and goes well over that 24.5. And I think the yards will probably be right around that same 3,500, maybe a touch more. I don't think he's throwing for 4,800 yards, or I don't think he's going to need to, because I do think they are going to be able to run the ball more effectively. But the biggest stat, and it's hard to really quantify, but the thing that allowed Bo to have the success that he did, and the reason Sean Payton really likes him, is because he doesn't take sacks. And so it makes the O-line look better, but he also is decisive. So whether he is throwing the ball short, he's typically completing it, but he's at least getting rid of the ball and not taking a lot of sacks and using his athleticism to buy the little bit of extra time. But I urge everybody to either read the Seth Wickersham piece on ESPN or check out Seth's book that's coming out. But Sean Payton breaks down why Bo Nix was his preferred quarterback. And he starts back with Mahomes, and you talk to plenty of people, including other people not named Sean, that were in the room. He was set to take Patrick Mahomes before the Chiefs jumped him. But he came up with this formula, and Seth details it, where you take the number of drop back passes a kid has in college, and then you factor in sacks, completion percentage, interceptions, and fumbles, and then average that all out. And so Patrick's number was something like right around 7 or 8.1 when you had Caleb Williams was like at 10. Drake May was a little lower than Patrick. Bo Nix was at 2.1. So he just doesn't hurt you. And so it's a long way of saying that. And if he can build on that and continue to protect the football, I think he can have a solid to really good sophomore campaign. I heard you mention CJ Stroud, and that's something Sean kind of touches on from time to time, is like, show me those QBs that really had a sophomore slump. It's hard to say a guy that got his team to the playoffs got Bobby Slowick fired. And if you talk to people in the know, it's because Bobby is a good X's and O's guys, but maybe not the best people person. And he and CJ didn't really get along. I don't know if they didn't like each other, but they just didn't mesh well. But there aren't a long list of rookies that have had good rookie years and then completely dropped off. You know, Sean kind of mentioned the guys that have the resurgence, like a Baker or Sam Darnold. He's like, there are more of those stories than there are guys that have really good rookie years and then drop off. There are plenty of rookies that struggle and get better. We've seen that forever. But I expect Bo to be right there. And when you pair him with what this defense is capable of and the pieces they have, if they're healthy, then it's not crazy when Sean's talking about being a Super Bowl contender and perhaps dethroning the Chiefs. I'm not ready to pick it, but it's not going to surprise me when it happens.
Yeah, I totally with you. I think the Denver Broncos are building something really good out there. Now, Brandon Christo joining us here from Gorilla Sports, looking at the Denver Broncos. Want to ask you about the receiver room, and obviously, pretty confident with their group. They move on from a piece, signing a guy they just selected last year to the New Orleans Saints. But I want to ask you more specifically about Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin. Do you think either of these two could be a prime candidate for a breakout season?
I think they both could, and that was, when you brought me in, that was what I touched on the conversation. I had a buddy in LA that said, hey, it's got to be Marvin Mims, right? The one thing that you'll look at, and you look at last year, so Devon Valles, who they just traded, he was a 27-year-old rookie. He turned 28 in December, so he'll be 29 in year 2 at the end of the season for the Saints. They took him in the 7th round out of Utah, and he was really dependable, had a really good camp, and he's 6'5", a little skinny, but, at 6'5", is just going to be bigger than anyone covering him. And the Saints didn't have anybody really over 6 feet that's involved in their passing game for as good as Olave is, or even Cooks, what he has left, or Shaheed. They're all 6 foot or smaller. And so it kind of made sense, but also because Troy Franklin, who was Bo Nix's favorite target at Oregon and had a rough rookie year and got yelled at seemingly every day by his receiver coach, by Sean Payton plenty as a rookie in training camp. And it seemed like every time the ball was thrown to him down the left sideline, he and Bo were just off the mark. And in fact, the only deep pass they finally connected on was a big one. It was in the playoffs against the Bills. That post on the backside on the right was the lone touchdown scored by the Broncos in that game. And it's funny because he switched from his rookie number of 16 back to 11. But I was like, he looks more comfortable in 11 as well. He's had a great camp. He had 2 touchdowns the other day against Arizona. Marvin Mims, just like we saw throughout the years, they involved him more. Sean couldn't really figure out how to get him on the field. And they line him up in the backfield, and they're doing more stuff with him in motion. But they just keep throwing him the ball. He had a huge game against the Bengals, a big catch to force overtime in coverage where he goes up and out, jumps a bigger DB. And so he's going to be involved plenty, as will obviously Troy Franklin. But Pat Bryant, who they took in the 3rd round, he catches everything. When they drafted him, and some people think they overvalued him, Sean was quick to say he has Michael Thomas-like traits. Said he's not Michael Thomas, so Sean wanted to pump the brakes there, but said he has the same traits, same size, about the same speed, and catches really well and is involved in blocking, and I think that's a big deal. But if you want to ask me who's going to have the second most catches on the team, it's an easy answer, and it's going to be Evan Ingram, because he comes over, he's healthy now. We'll see how long that lasts. He's 31, 32, but he's still super fast. We asked Brandon Jones, the safety, talked to us yesterday after practice about Evan Ingram. He's like, I can't, he didn't say I can't cover him. He's like, he's hard to cover. Like, he is faster than anybody we're used to seeing at that position. Because I think he might still have the fastest 40 time for a tight end in combine history. You need to double check that. But so I think Mims could have a really big year. I think Franklin could have a big year. Cortland Sutton is going to get the bulk of the work. And we see, I said bulk of the work, bulk of the attention from Bo. And we see that in camp every day. He just throws to 14 more. Doesn't mean he won't spread it around, because a couple of times he set the team record and then tied his own record with spreading it around to the backup tight end, all the running backs, like 10, 11 different pass catchers in a game. And so it doesn't mean he's going to only lock in on Sutton. But I wouldn't feel great unless you're in a really deep league about Mims, or you get return yards, or Troy Franklin, because one game, one's going to have a big game, the other one the next good, and it's not going to make any sense. Like, Franklin may have a really good week against the Raiders, and you're like, okay, now he's going to do this the following week, and then he just disappears. Not because he disappears, but also Sean's offenses feature all these different backs in and out, and all these different combinations of receivers. That's why if you go back and look at those Saints teams, there was always a number 1, a Marcus Colston, a Michael Thomas, someone like that. But there was never a number 2 where you're like, oh, you got to play him too. It was, oh, Ted Ginn had a big game that week, or Lance Moore had a big game that week. And so I like both those guys. I don't love them early, but you can probably find some fantasy value in deep leagues. And on the field, I think they're really going to help, because they both are coming into their own. Marvin in year 3 as a pass catcher and best punt returner in the NFC, or AFC rather. And Troy Franklin just really figuring it out in year 2 after having a certainly up and down rookie year.
And now, Brandon, before we let you go here, I do have to ask about that secondary. I'm not going to say it's the no-fly zone, because that would be pretty lofty expectations, but it looks like they're building one heck of a group there.
Yeah, it's funny. I talked to Chris Harris today, because he does the show with us at Gorilla Sports called We're the Harrises, with Ryan Harris, Shelby Harris, who's still playing now with the Browns, and Chris Harris Jr. And we kind of had that same conversation. But with Pat Surtain, the defensive player of the year, he's the best cornerback in football. Riley Moss had a really good second season when he got to play, hurts his knee, and he looked like he was, I don't say rushed back, but wasn't 100%. T. Higgins kind of put him in a blender in that Bengals game. And then Jaquan McMillan didn't have as good a year in the slot. Well, so they got and get Jahdae Barron, and it raises the play of both McMillan and Moss. They've looked great. Barron's not going to have the easiest time just getting on the field. They're going to play him. You don't take a first rounder to not play him, but they're probably going to use him the way they use PS2 as a rookie, where it's like he'll play inside some. He might play, he'll look like a safety or an extra linebacker. He's not just going to kick those guys off the field. Eventually, I do think he will be like Chris Harris in a base starting opposite of PS2, and then Riley will come in and he'll jump inside. But in the short term, don't be surprised he doesn't start week 1. And then adding Talanoa Hufanga to Brandon Jones. Brandon Jones said this is the deepest secondary he's ever been around, because they also got a kid named Chris Abrams-Drain, 5th rounder out of Missouri, that played a bunch last year at the end of the year, especially when Riley was hurt, and he's looked really good. Nobody catches anything on him. He's off in 2s versus 2s, and but they rotate receivers through. He's had a really good camp. So the secondary is good, but also up front, with not only in the middle with Alex Singleton back and Dre Greenlaw, both coming off injury, but stud linebackers. You got the best pass rush in the league. They led the league in sacks, starting with Nick Benito. They're really good front to back, and that's why some people think they might be the best defense in football. It helps, though, when you've got the best defensive player and a secondary that'll lock you down.
Oh, absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do this year. It'll be a tough division, but I think the Broncos have just as good about a chance as any of the other teams. Hey, Brandon, thanks so much for doing this today. Great rundown.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Talk to you soon. I thought we were going to get into Avalanche against Denver University hockey alumni game on Sunday. Peter Forsberg flew over from Europe to play in it, and I don't know if Paul Stasny's playing, but his brother Jan's playing, even though he didn't play at either of those places, or he's playing on the Avs team. But Joe Sakic's going to be on the ice, so that'd be cool to see Sakic and Forsberg out there.
And next time.
Sounds good.
There you go. There's Brandon Christo, covers the Denver Broncos with Guerrilla Sports. Give him a follow on X at BK Denver Sports. Let's take a break here. When we come back, 5 questions. It is the Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by Playalberta.ca.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. With state-of-the-art motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, call 1-877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
Reports suggest that Canadian taste buds are bored to tears.
My mouth can't handle another dull drink.
Summertime smoothie experts everywhere are recommending a watermelon wake-up from Booster Juice.
It's so smooth, cool, and refreshing.
And
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan. For all your residential water needs, your local water treatment company. More than just big bottles, it's Culligan.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
Okay, question number 1. Elks game tonight. Do we have a score prediction and a bold prediction? Elks win. I'm going to say 34 sounds real good. I'll say 33-28 for the Elks. Redblacks play teams. Yeah. We're on the Elks train, and 2 touchdowns for Justin Rankin. Question number 2, college football week 0 tomorrow. Which teams will be in the conference championship games for you in the Power 4 conferences this year? Yeah, well, the 2 teams that playing in the championship in each. No, well, not if that's what you think. Oh, you're talking college football playoff? Oh, I was talking the conference championship games, but I like that playoff. Yeah, but we don't. That's fine. Well, I got Kansas State, Utah in the Big 12. I got Texas, Georgia in the SEC. I got Clemson, Miami in the ACC, and I got Oregon and Ohio State in the Big 10. Question number 3. I know you hate the phrase, but who is the most overrated player in the NHL? A really good question. Good question by me. Great question, Declan. Oh, most overrated player in the NHL. Mitch Marner. Got to show up in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Question number 4. What was the best moment for you as a sports fan that didn't happen to your team?
Best moment as a sports fan. I would say watching sports, and as I get older, it's really cool to see guys live their dream and like finally get over the top of the mountain. So I will say Alexander Ovechkin winning the Stanley Cup and just the celebration that went along with it. I mean, there's a list of those guys. Ray Bourque would be another good one, but anytime you see a vet hoist Lord Stanley after putting in all the work for so many years, I think it's always a fun one to see. So yeah, I would say Alexander Ovechkin winning the cup with the Caps.
That's a good one. Question
Whoa, you got to answer too, Dak. Come on.
The kick 6 in the Iron Bowl in 2013.
Oh, Chris Davis?
Yeah, just couldn't believe what I was watching. Took like 15 pictures of the field getting rushed on my iPhone 4. Question number 5, hypothetical Friday. Which 2 species would you choose if you could create a hybrid animal out of any 2?
There's probably ones that'll be like more fun or more popular, but I think I would take like an animal that I find cute but gets too big. Like koalas get pretty big, don't they?
Yeah.
Or no, not koala.
Okay. Pandas? Pandas get big.
I think a panda, but like the size of like a small monkey. I think that might be
so a panda and a small monkey.
Yeah, I don't know the breed. A panda and a Shih Tzu dog. So the colors stay the same. The black and white Shih Tzu. But I don't know if that would mess up how they walk and sit. Things of that sort. But
I like it.
But yeah, I'd like to just a miniature version of a panda. They're pretty cute. How about you?
Maybe like, well, I don't know. Like if I'm creating like the ultimate like predator, maybe like a polar bear and an eagle. Like a polar bear that can fly all of a sudden. But I don't know. I was kind of thinking maybe like, I don't know, like a squirrel And like I like where you were going with the koala. Just make kind of like an ultra cute little critter.
Yeah, like I was thinking like maybe like a lion and a little dog and make just like a little lion. I guess I could do a cat too. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends what the goal is of this mixture of things.
Yeah. Maybe just like 2 dogs.
Make
a cuter dog.
Be super cute. Lance says Hellebuck for overrated. Well, I mean, if you want to look at postseason production, I guess that could be a fair one. And he is very highly rated. So to say he's a little overrated, I think you could probably make that call. But I mean, I think a lot of people would take him. Just quickly want to mention, Brian had texted in, we got a silent auction happening on Sunday at the Part Source at 12910 Fort Road. All proceeds raised goes to Jumpstart. So if you want to get out and support a great local cause, that'll be Sunday, August 24th at the Part Source at 129 and Fort Road. Declan, you're the captain now, man. You're taking over.
Yeah, man. Me and the Fenmeister.
You guys got this. You got some Bills talk coming up at 5:20 and also Alan Mitchell up next. Thank you guys for tuning in today. If you missed anything, go check the podcast, give us a download, and have some fun in the next hour with Declan and Fenwick. Right now, Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. They're hiring HVAC installers and plumbers, starting bonuses to the right candidates, strong benefits, RRSP matching, tuition reimbursement. Apply today at legacyheating.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Rockies and Pirates in MLB action. Top of the first, that one delayed. Score tied 0-0. The only other game in action sees the Nats and Phillies also tied 0-0 at the same mark. Yankees and Red Sox set to go in about 10 minutes time here, as are the Astros and Orioles, Royals and Tigers, and Blue Jays and Marlins on the dock at 5:10. On the mound, it's going to be Shane Bieber for the Toronto Blue Jays. Vlad Guerrero Jr. out of the Blue Jays lineup with a hamstring injury. Tour Championship through 2 sees Tommy Fleetwood and Russell Henley tied for the lead at 13 under. Highest ranked Canadian Nick Taylor at 6 under. Corey Connors 23rd at 3 under. And in the CPKC Women's Open, Aki Iwa staying atop the leaderboard at 9 under. Brooke Henderson tied for 5th at 5 under. And Aphrodite Dang tied for 15th now at 3 under overall. +2 on the day. Elks will play tonight in about 35 minutes time as they play in Ottawa, taking on Dustin Crum and the Redblacks. And 49ers have acquired Brian Robinson Jr. from the Commanders for a 2026 6th-round pick. I'm Declan Kruger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Listen up, because you're not going to want to miss this. Right now is your chance to get in on Playalberta's biggest offer ever. For a limited time only, new players can get up to a $1,000 casino bonus when they sign up. There's never been a better time to join the fun. Visit playalberta.ca today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Work never gets done by standing around. You have to put your words into action. And that's exactly what GS Construction does every single day. Our priorities are safety first, quality second, efficiency third. GS Construction works hard. It's true. But first comes the care, the planning, and the people. Underground infrastructure isn't just about machines and trenches and some traffic inconveniences. It's about doing things right. Find out more on what we do. Visit gsconstruction.ca.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. Delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle noodle.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk, family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
5 trails blazed where others turn back.
15 secret swimming holes discovered.
50 incredible sights that made it all worthwhile.
Measure your Tacoma's reliability and memories, not just the mileage. It's time to Toyota. Lease a 2025 Tacoma 4x4 double cab SR5 from $115 weekly for 60 months at 6.79% with $7,699 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
The ATB Classic is returning to Northern Bear Golf Club.
An international field of professionals will battle it out on their path towards the PGA Tour.
Advance tickets are $20 or upgrade your access to sit greenside in the Sports 1440 Birdie Bar. Presented by Sleeman.
Net proceeds go to Youth on Course to give kids age 6 to 18 access to play golf for just $5.
Come see the future stars of the PGA Tour.
The ATB Classic.
September 11th to 14th.
Get your tickets at atbclassic.com.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV. Our average used RV sells for around 30 grand. Some are more, some are less. And literally no one has 30 G's just sitting in their checking account.
Monthly payments are the best way to get the used RV that's right for your family.
That's right, Bob. Financing should be a stress-free process. But let me tell you a little secret. My granddaughters think I'm a model citizen. When I was young once. And if you look back into my credit history, you can see that it wasn't always excellent.
Perfect credit is nice, but not easily achievable.
You said it, Bob, but less than perfect credit is not a good reason to keep you from the great outdoors this season. I built our financing plans for the real world. And in the real world, nobody has a perfect credit score. So let's talk about how easy it is to make your favorite used RV affordable. As long as you promise not to tell Saxon and Goldie that I'm not perfect.
NoBullRV.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows. Locally manufactured and installed, Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all your residential needs. Call 310-GLASS. Visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
Welcome back. Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Presented by Playalberta.ca. Use the promo code Gregor and get a $50 free play. Declan Kruger sitting in for Connor Halley, who was sitting in for Jason Gregor. We're really getting to the dog days here. It's the C team, me and Fenster running the show, but we are going to be joined by Low Tide in just a moment here. It's going to be the Spec Report with guest. How about that? How many times does that happen, hey? A guest on the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. GS Construction, they specialize in underground infrastructure. They make your life more enjoyable with running water and indoor plumbing. They're the grinders of construction. That's GS Construction. We now bring on Low Tide. Normally the roles are reversed, but Al, how are you? How's the Friday afternoon been so far?
Yeah, I want to make sure, am I filling in for Spec?
You are filling in for Spec. Okay. Ferris Bueller'd it. He heard I was going to be sitting in for Connor, and he said, I'm not doing all that. He said, listen, after last Friday when I asked him why he didn't follow me on Twitter, he said, I don't want to have anything to do with that kid anymore. I'm taking the day off. No, he's sick, but I'm playing around. Right. But you are filling in for Spec.
Okay, well, I there are some things I should do. I'd like to start by informing everybody a little bit about Latvia. It's a northern European country, one of 3 Baltic states, known for its Baltic state coastline, dense forest, and the capital, Riga. I won't go any farther, but I feel Spec would have started like that.
That's pretty. You must be listening every day at 5 o'clock, because that was pretty apt. I thought it was pronounced Riga, though. Is it Riga?
Listen, once again, I'm impersonating Speck, who doesn't pronounce anything correctly.
Okay.
Also, I don't pronounce anything correctly. So I bet it is Riga, because I can't spell any. I can't. Pronunciations and me are not friends.
You have pretty incredible commitment to the spec bit, I'll say, going as far as to, we are going to talk oil in a second here, but I want to start with the Elks. Elks obviously set to go in about half an hour or so here. We've talked about it throughout the week, but I mean, like, in your mind, because I look at this game huge in regards to momentum. Like, if you win this game, all of a sudden you're 4-6 and you've won 3 in a row, and you're going to go play Calgary in 2 Labor Day games where anything can happen. But if you lose now you're 3-7 and you've just lost to the second worst team in the league who's playing with their backup quarterback. So, I mean, do you kind of look at it the same way, that this is like winning this game, a game that's very winnable, the momentum carrying forward is maybe the biggest thing to look forward to for this team?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is not many weeks ago, we were talking about some of the players on the Elks looking at professional extinction. If you have a poor year, you're not coming back, and there's every chance no one in the league you'll be waved right through, and you'll be the football career might be over. So there was a lot of effort in the last several weeks, and obviously they've turned around the season. So I don't think I just can't see any reason why there could be a Herculean effort from a very poor, or at least a struggling Ottawa team. But I think the Elks are so close to saving this thing. This entire season, it's like they started off the year so poorly, and people were, once again, they were complaining about the bags and the name of the team and God knows what else. And now there's Fajardo has really played well. And they've got some guys who can make plays, especially on offense. Need the defense to be a little more game breaking, but there's good signs here. So I think this is going to be. I don't think the coach, not that he wouldn't try to motivate them, and not that he won't motivate them, but I don't think they need much motivation. They have done exactly what they needed to do, and that desperation has paid off. I don't see them losing any of that desperation tonight.
When you look at keys to the game, like, is there something that sticks out to you more than anything else?
Well, I've said all year, and I'm not the only one who said it, but I think the defense really has to catch up to their reputation a little bit, and I think they had better protection this time around, which is great. Our last game, which is great. They need to do more of that. The Ottawa may key on the best Elks players, but I would like to see more turnovers, more aggression on the defensive side. I think that might be a key, just because you by the time you get to Calgary on Labor Day weekend, you want to have all pistons firing. I think Fajardo has got the offense going pretty well here, and so now if the defense can be if they can make some big plays tonight, I think that would be the best thing for the Edmonton Elks.
Now, I don't know if you've been following along, but Oilers Nation's been releasing their top 100 players. They're kind of trickling them down here through the dog days of summer. I just want to touch on some of the lower guys they've had here and let you speak on them a little bit and what they meant to the Oilers and who they were. They had Mark Lamb coming in at number 100. They had, I believe it was Brian Marchment come in at 99. And then at 98, let me just pull it up here, they had Kent Nielsen. Does that seem about right for you? For those three guys to come in at 199, 98?
Yeah, I think so. It's a good list based on the first three. Nielsen wasn't here long, or he would have been much higher, but he did have a tremendous impact. He came here twice. He came in for the '87 Stanley Cup and was brilliant with Glenn Anderson and Mark Messier, and then he came back maybe. Oh God, guys! Maybe 7 years later, right at the end of his career. It's a long time ago. Marchment was filthy. He was absolutely a filthy defenseman. You couldn't play that style anymore, but he was really good. And he was the kind of player you liked him when you were on he was on your team, not so much afterward. Who was number 100? I can't remember.
Number 100 was Mark. Sorry, I'm gonna have to pull it up here. Right,
Mark Lamb.
Yeah, Mark Lamb. Yeah.
Yeah, he was kind of Mark Lamb was kind of like James Hamblin is now, although he was a better player. But he was like a fourth-line center glue guy. He helped the kid line along. He was important in the 1990 run to the Stanley. He ended up coaching for a long time. He may still be a coach, but he was a really good player. He was maybe overlooked in that era because of his size, but he was very bright, played a smart game, and he had great utility. Lamb was a part of the surprise 1990 Stanley Cup victory, which was anybody who watched that, it was fantastic because it was so unexpected. Gretzky was gone in '89. Calgary won, and then in 1990, everything broke right. Billy Ranford stopped everything. Craig Simpson got on a roll. It was brilliant stuff. But Lamb played a pretty significant role for a guy who we would in modern times call a fourth liner.
D. McCammond and Laddie Schmid came in 97 and 96. I didn't want to throw too many names at you, but speaking of the current iteration of the Oilers here, like you had asked Tyler earlier today, like who are some of the guys you're going to be watching as camp rolls and, preseason, beginning of regular things like that. And he mentioned David Tomasek. Is that the name for you as well? Like that's the guy because there are a lot of young guys here, obviously. I mean, most notably Matt and Ike. But is David Tomasek the one guy who, just from a pure curiosity perspective, if you want to call it that, you're going to be keeping eyes on?
Yeah, I would list the guy that I'm most curious about as being Ike Howard. I've heard a lot about him. He's the young man's going to have tremendous pressure simply because this is a team that needs him to score goals. But I like the idea of Tomasek because, he's a complete unknown. We don't, he could be, this sounds terrible. I don't mean it to be, but he could be back in Sweden by October 1st. It's possible. We just don't know who he is. But Stan Bowman traditionally has a pretty good eye for talent. Now, Ken Holland did this with Gaetan Haas and Joachim Nygaard, you may recall, back in 2019. He brought in a couple of guys who weren't well known to North American fans, and they both ended up playing one more than a year. I think Haas was here for 2 years. But I think that Tomasek is more skilled than that, and there's a chance he can play higher up the lineup. But I would suggest that he's a somewhat similar player and that we don't know a lot about him, and we're terribly curious, and we're about to find out. I think he's pretty skilled, but I don't know if he can catch up to the NHL pace in time.
I think I might have asked you this question last week, but it just seems to me there's so much riding on the shoulders of Ike Howard and Matt Savoy. And those are two guys who, might presumably won't be in the lineup for the entirety of this season. Like, do you think that's fair? Do you think that's right? Do you think that there is so much of what this team needs to be at their top? Like, obviously it starts with McDavid and Dry and Bush and Nurse and Howard. Obviously those are the best players, but it just seems like these guys are brought in to play prominent top six roles. And a lot of the success is going to have to run through them, or at least factor them in. Like, do you think that's right? Do you think that's overblown? Do you think it's fair? Where do you come out on that?
Well, I think it's good that the Oilers finally infused some youth into their roster, and I'd be more concerned for these young players if the Oilers didn't have some backup plans. So they've got Frederick and they've got Mangiapane, and obviously they have Nuge and Hyman. So I don't think both will fail. I think Savoy's played a year in the AHL and a little bit in the AHL or the NHL, 3 or 4 games. I think he'll be fine. It's a matter of being on the line or will be line. And the big because we don't know really how quickly he could adapt or adjust to the National Hockey League. But he has the one thing that he does is the hardest thing to do, and that's score goals. So if he can make it, it would be a huge boon to this Oilers team. We'll see, but that's the guy I'm watching for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I stare at these daily faceoff lines and I just see him pinned up there as the top line left winger. And it just seems like it seems almost unfair to me that he's thrown into that position, like at this point in his career, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I guess you're right. And we'll see. Speck had asked Gregor a little while ago about giving Trent Frederick an extended look at the third line center position. And I don't know, like, first of all, like, I know you're really high on Trent Frederick. I don't know if he's played enough center for me for that. And then the other thing is, like, all of a sudden I feel like Nuge is back in your top 6. I don't know if I trust Nuge as that third line winger. Like, where do you come out on Trent maybe getting some extended looks at center as the season progresses?
Well, I would like to have Nuge as the third line center. And the reason is because I think Frederick or Savoy will land there on the third line. Probably, let me repeat. Howard or Savoy will land on the third line. So if you've got a young winger, I honestly, I think I would like to have like a veteran center like Nuge with Ike Howard on left wing, and then maybe even right wing you'd have another veteran to bring him into the lineup. Nuge is he's a great mentor. He's a smart player, and I think that Mangiapane probably would play pretty well with McDavid or with Draisaitl. And I know a lot of people don't. They look past Podkolzin, but he's played well with Draisaitl.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if opening night Mangiapane's left wing on the McDavid line and Podkolzin is left wing on the Draisaitl line, and then Ike Howard is playing with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on the third line. I can see that happening. You've got a button-down coach, a guy who's risk-averse in Chris Knobloch, and he might want to have a mentor like Nugent-Hopkins alongside Ike Howard in his first, say, 10 games in the NHL.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't know. I look at Andrew Mangiapane, and I think like this is a top 6 skill player who can score the puck. And I don't like the prospect of not playing him in my top 6. Like, I just think they would essentially be nerfing him. Like, I think his best hockey, because he's not really a creator, undoubtedly is going to come with McDavid or Draisaitl. So, like, what would the rationale be behind Andrew Mangiapane not getting some of those top 6 looks or not being a staple of that top 6? Is it just development of the young guys and feeling like they have a lot of faith that these two can become something or are something already and can really score the puck with McDavid and Dry? Like, what would the justification be?
Well, it would have to be the only way I see Mangiapane not on one of the top 2 lines is if Frederick really has an impact initially with McDavid or Draisaitl, or, and I think this is a longer shot, Ike Howard just comes in here and starts scoring goals with one of those 2 centers. If Howard forces it to one of the top skill lines, they'll make room for him, even with defensive deficincies. If he shows an ability to scoring goals is so damn hard, and checking and playing sound defense is easier. And I think that I would guess that Mangiapane gets a real clear look. Frederick is kind of in the picture on left wing. Podkolzin is a safety net for Draisaitl, and the wild card is Howard, who might end up eating everybody's lunch if he can score goals on a line with one of McDavid or Draisaitl.
Low Tide, final one for you here. Shane Bieber on the bump. That game started 5 minutes ago, I think. We got to throw it on here. What do you make of him? What are you expecting from him? That's probably a better question.
Well, if he's healthy, he could be the best starting pitcher on the Jays. Like, he's really, really good. But having said that, we don't know, and we have to be, careful. We need to see 3 or 4 starts, which we'll see, and then you go from there. It's so difficult to come back from the injuries he's come back from. But the last time he's a Cy Young Award winner. He's top drawer if he's healthy, but you need to make sure that he is. And I think that they made a really good trade because they didn't pay a huge amount for a guy who might be the best starting pitcher traded at the deadline. Now, he's got to go out and prove that, and we'll see. But I like the deal. I'm looking forward to watching him pitch tonight. I got the Elks on one. I got the Jays on the other. It's going to be wild times, but this is really good night for sports. And Bieber could start. I'll say he'll start. If he's healthy, he'll start game 2. Gosman starts game 1. He'll start game 2. That's my guess.
Low Tide, really, really appreciate it. Thank you for joining us here. Enjoy your weekend, and we will talk to you on Monday.
Okay, I'll bring you Latvia facts on Monday.
Okay, appreciate it. We'll talk about it on the lowdown. That was Alan Mitchell, a.k.a. Low Tide, joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Declan Kruger sitting in. One text here before we get to break I wanted to touch on, because Randy, you texted in a couple days ago. He said, good grief, I'm sorry, did I just tune in and hear Isaac Howard is the 5th best player in the NHL? This was, for anyone who wasn't listening to the show 2 days ago, this was part of 5 questions. I asked the top 5 players in the NHL. Wanye Gretz, with his ever apps comedic timing, came in and said Isaac Howard was the 5th best player. Randy, this was what that text was a response to. Then you texted in again today and said, don't know why you're worried. Your guy's buddy Wanye thinks Isaac Howard is the 5th best player in the league. Right. Can confirm that was a joke for sure, but clearly a lot of belief in this young guy, not just from Wanya, but from everybody. I mean, you look at some of the daily face-off line combinations. You look at some of the chatter around this guy. You look at what he did in, Michigan State winning the Hobie Baker. Like, a lot of belief in this guy. I don't know. Sky's the limit. We will take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk with John Scott, NBC Buffalo, talk a little Buffalo Bills. This is the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Oodle Noodle Origins. In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudel, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the New World. At Ellis Island, Nudel was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as Oodle Noodle.
It's the Bricks mattress sale of your dreams. Score dreamy deals like up to 40% off mattresses, and queen beds starting at just $269. Get select king mattresses for the price of a queen, and select queen mattresses for the price of a twin. Plus, queen platform bases start at just $299. Score 20% off metal bed frames when you buy any mattress, and get free local delivery when you buy any mattress on your Flexity card. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
McDonald's sundaes and snack-size shakes are $2, or get $1 cones exclusively on the McDonald's app. With those prices, your hands are going to be full of treats, like Alex here. My phone. I got you. App download and registration required. At participating McDonald's in Canada. Taxes extra. Prices exclude delivery.
The 8th annual Oilers Nation Open tees off Friday, August 29th at 9 a.m. A Texas scramble with fellow golfers, sports fans, and maybe even a few local personalities. Great shots, cold drinks, and a great cause. Gregor's Grads. Sign up at nationgear.ca.
Is your company drowning in paperwork and administrative tasks? Do you need more data to make better decisions? Nectar.io is your company's all-in-one solution for fleet and materials management, safety, time cards, and GIS-based project management. Now is the time to capture and transform field, site, and shop data into boardroom-level business intelligence, all with one login. Visit Nectar.io to book a demo today. Nectar.io, your business made better.
At On the Rocks, the party never stops.
Check it out.
Mondays, bingo tunes.
Tuesdays, tacos and tequila.
Wednesdays, it's wings and karaoke.
Shake what your mama gave you with salsa lessons on Thursdays and the best Latin DJs.
Plus, live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with DJ Kenny K.
Hold on, let's not forget. $5 happy hour, 7 days a week.
Your bar, your party. You're On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
Since 1963, Bashaw Concrete Products has been helping Albertans complete projects of all sizes. The highest quality ready mix and gravel, septic tanks made to last, prompt delivery. Like I said, they're always happy to help. In fact, they'll even find you a nearby concrete finisher for your next project. Maybe it's a foundation for a home or a shop floor, or you're thinking decorative concrete. Nice. They'll recommend someone as dependable as Bashaw Concrete Products. Visit BashawConcrete.com and follow them on Facebook.
Need the perfect ride? The Golf Cart people have it. They offer a wide selection of new and used models from top brands like Club Car, Yamaha, and E-Z-GO. Whether it's a lifted cart for adventure or a sleek ride for the course, they'll find your match. Customize with accessories or choose a ready-to-go option. Trusted by Albertans since 1997 for quality. Visit golfcartpeople.com to find your cart and hit the road or fairway your way.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Get the Gregor special. Enjoy 20% off any regular menu price order. Enter promo code Gregor at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
Welcome back. Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, 523. Couple segments here to go before we wrap up for the day. We're going to reconnect with John Scott here in just a moment. We actually had a text in coming just before the break from Kyle. Is that NHL All-Star John Scott coming up on the program? Unfortunately not. Now, I could be wrong, but I do believe he's been on the show before. I could be wrong. Like I said, it would be a tough get, but it seems like someone who's gettable enough and kind of fits the niche that he might have been on the show before. I don't know. Let's see what we got here on the text line, because it's Friday. You know, we're all taking it a little bit easy. Entourage from Calgary says Rasmus Anderson is overrated. -38 hashtag Green Jacket. I like Rasmus Anderson as a player a lot. Like I've always really respected his game, really respected his skill set. One of those guys, you know, you would take on your team anytime. But I am getting word here. We do have John Scott from NBC Buffalo, so we'll bring him in. John, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. And yeah, sorry about that. I kind of cut off. That should have led to a third question. I kind of cut it off a little prematurely, but I appreciate you rolling with it. I was reading a article on Sports Illustrated about four of the Bills who need to kind of show out in this final preseason game against Tampa. And one of them was Ryan Van Denmark. And obviously that Chicago game, false starts all over the place, looking to make his team for a third year, but he's playing behind Dion, right? What have you seen from him, and what do you expect? Like, do you expect him to make the final cuts? Do you what does his kind of trajectory look like this year?
I had him as a lock, as one of the backup tackles, because that's the role he's played on this team. But they're dealing with some injuries on the interior. Connor McGovern is fine, but they don't have a backup center right now, with Cedric Van Pran Granger looking like he's not going to be healthy to start the season. So they've been working another backup, Alec Anderson, who's played the jumbo package, tackle, guard. They've been working him at center. And then there's a guy, Kendrick Green. And so as you look at the numbers in total, they keep 9. So that's 4 backups there. Tylen Grable has been dealing with a concussion, but he's going to make the team. Anderson's going to make the team. And that's where you kind of start whittling it down there to would they be comfortable with keeping a Vandemark, or are they already sufficient at the tackle position? He hasn't been at his best, but I don't put 100% of the chips in the middle just based upon a preseason game that was not good for anybody who took the field that evening last weekend. So I do have him on the bubble, though, right now, and I think it's going to be a decision of, do they trust Alec Anderson to be the backup center if he would need to be, or they feel more comfortable with a guy who's more of a traditional center like Kendrick Green being that guy and rounding out as the 9th player.
Another guy on the list was Cole Bishop, and he's, obviously had the injuries this offseason, missed some time during camp, but again, bad game against the Bears. Like, do you think, because to me, as much as we all love his story, I don't know if, and I mean this in the most respectful way possible, I don't know if DeMar Hamlin is a starting free safety on a team that's in a championship window. Like, obviously it's one position, and there, you got to look at everything. Like, you could make the argument Khalil Shakir is not the number 1 receiver on a championship winning team. But when it comes to Cole and DeMar at that free safety position, like, how do you see that one working out?
It's Cole Bishop's job to lose. It always has been. And I found it interesting this past week that on a few occasions, both Sean McDermott and defensive coordinator Robbie Babich have compared this situation to Bishop, who didn't play much as a rookie, has dealt with injuries his second season while appearing to have the front row seat to assuming a starting position, to back a couple of years ago when Terrell Bernard was in a similar spot. They lose Tremaine Edmonds in free agency. The first year, the little amount we saw of Bernard, it wasn't very good, but he didn't see the field a ton, dealt with injuries and missed most of his training camp going into his second season. And then he's inserted into the starting job week 1 and had arguably an all-pro level season. And that's what I think, it's not apples to apples, and you can't just assume that same production and story is going to unfold with Bishop. But I think they believe in the player. They believe in the talents. They've seen enough when he's on the field to feel comfortable starting him and understand that it's going to not necessarily be a steady climb. There are going to be some ups and downs with the young player, but they believe in the talent over everything else. I think they like the support that he's going to get from someone like Taylor Rapp next to him. So I think it's going to be Cole Bishop. And I do think that they view Damar Hamlin as an ideal backup guy, a guy who you understand maybe has a little bit of a higher floor, but a lower ceiling, who's been in the system. You can trust him when he's out there, but you kind of understand the limitations that will follow.
So Trey White, he left practice on the cart today. Is that correct?
It was yesterday. And the cart thing, just for
a little overstated.
Well, they were practicing in the Bills stadium, and it is a long walk, including up a steep hill inside the stadium to get out of the stadium and get back over to the facility. So with any sort of a lower body injury, regardless of the severity, even if it was a tweak of an ankle, I don't think they're going to make the player walk all of that way to do it. So we don't know the extent of it. He didn't look, at least from a reaction standpoint, like he was too happy and was kind of dejected. I'm not going to read too much into it because sometimes, especially a player with the scars, no pun intended, of Tre'Davious White with an ACL and an Achilles, you get any sort of an injury, it naturally would take you back to that mental place, especially this close to the regular season. I think we'll get a better idea of where that is at, not until post-game after the preseason game tomorrow night from Sean McDermott. But I would say no news of severe injury is good news to this point.
Yeah, because I had read another report that they, just speaking on Trey White's injury, don't know what it is. Obviously, Maxwell's got his thing. I'm going to ask about him in a second, but that, the Bills would maybe potentially looking to bringing back Rasul Douglas. And, he's obviously still a free agent without a team, but knows the defense, knows the scheme well. Do you think that would be something the Bills would ever look to?
I think it would be discussed. They're already at a surplus at the position. It was going to be a numbers game had everyone been healthy. And even, frankly, if Trey was healthy and Hairston starts the season on IR, one of the three between Dane Jackson, Jamarcus Ingram, and the 6th-round pick Dorian Strong likely was not going to make the team. So now it's a matter of you have the depth, but do you trust the depth to be more than depth if it has to be for any sort of an extended period of a time? And that's where Dane Jackson has had his struggles. Yeah, he started a good amount of games in this system for this team, but I think you like him a lot more as maybe your 4th or 5th cornerback than your starter. He would be the one I would likely put on the chopping block, all things being equal. And then you have a 6th-round pick in Dorian Strong, who Babbage said this week he's been up and down as a rookie usually is at this point in time. I think Ingram is a guy that I would trust in a short matter of time, but I wouldn't like him to be the extended option there. And that's where I think a guy like Douglas would come into the fold, is how long of a timeline would Tre'Davious' injury keep him out? How does that kind of line up with wherever Maxwell Hairston is and his return from the knee injury? And with a team that is as much viewing every game super important because they're a Super Bowl contender, do they make a move to bring Douglas back for the short term, or do they just kind of ride out what they got in that period of time? I think that's where bringing in exterior help would be part of the conversation, as if White is kind of in the multiple week type scenario.
John Scott of NBC Buffalo joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Declan Greer sitting in. Sticking with the cornerback position for just one more question here. The last Coach McDermott said about Maxwell was that he's still a ways away. But what's your estimation on how things are going for him, and what's it been like with all the news surrounding him, to put it mildly?
Yeah, he was more visible this week and doing stuff with the training staff. He still has a pretty heavy brace on his knee. I did see him. He's working those echo bikes, the things with the fans, and you kind of pump your arms and work the legs at the same time. A trainer was telling him, hey, you can go harder on there. I think it's still the most likely scenario. He starts the season on injured reserve, probably misses the first month, and then they can slowly bring him back. I don't think the Tre'Davious White injury would make them feel they need to speed up his process. They're going to let him recover and rehab at the pace that is necessary, which I don't think would have him available at least the first month of the season.
When you look at their draft class this year, and I guess you can actually extrapolate this to just kind of everyone on the team, but throughout camp and preseason, has there been anyone to you that's been kind of a pleasant surprise?
I go to, and it's not a young player, it's Matt Milano. And he's a guy that you know what he is when he's healthy. He just hasn't been healthy for years now. And when a guy deals with a couple injuries like Milano had, like Tre'Davious White, when they hit about 30 years old, the expectation isn't that they're going to return to the all-pro form that they once were. I'm not saying Milano's going to be an all-pro, but he's flying around the field and making plays through training camp like he's the same guy that we saw 3-4 years ago. And that is an unbelievable boost for this defense, so much so that Babich didn't want to jinx it. He's like, I'm just glad that he's healthy. I don't want to talk about Matt Milano. And that's where they're at. It's with him and his career, you love what you get when you have him, but you're kind of always holding your breath, waiting for that shoe to drop, that he's going to get dinged up in some capacity. But if he can be what he can be, and you pair that with Terrell Bernard, a linebacker duo we have not seen share the field much over the past few years, I think that can really help maybe cover some of the warts that you may deal with young defensive linemen in that rookie class or new guys that they signed, with some uncertainty in the secondary at corner as well as safety. I think if those two can man the middle and fly around sideline to sideline like we've seen them do individually, but if they can do it together, I think that'll be fantastic. And Milano, to me, has been arguably, with Josh Allen, the best players in the Bills through training camp.
Now, I asked this one kind of selfishly because in my fantasy keeper league, I kept Khalil Shakir with a 14th round pick, last pick in the draft. Do you expect him to be the number one wide receiving target in this offense? And like, is he a guy, like I know he's been in the league for a few years now, but is he a guy you think could ever break out and be that 1,300 yard, 12 touchdown kind of guy?
I do not. No, I don't think he'll ever be that. I think it's weird. I think you could almost put 3-4 names in a bag, jumble it up, pull it out, and that would be as good of odds of who will statistically lead the Bills in receptions or yards or touchdowns between Shakir and Keon Coleman, who has looked really good these final weeks of training camp. You could say Dalton Kincaid could go into that. And who knows, maybe a guy like Josh Palmer could come in and also be that. They are maintaining and hammering home this everybody eats mantra, and that's going to be the philosophy once again this season. So it's really hard to pinpoint from a fantasy standpoint or just a game plan standpoint who is going to be the one that will maybe assert themselves beyond the rest of the pack. I still think maybe they can get one of these guys to 1,000 yards receiving, but I kind of feel like the leader of the pack, whoever it may be, might be around that 850 yardage marker there. And you just have a collection of 3-4 plus guys that are in that 5 to 850, 900 yard range.
Now, couldn't have a Bills guest on and not ask about Josh Allen, of course. First of all, I want to a two-part question. First of all, I want to ask, what do you think his prospects are of repeating his league MVP? And then truly, like, bias aside, in your heart of hearts, do you think right now he is the best quarterback in the NFL?
I think he can absolutely repeat it because he actually, the numbers, and I know this is what some of the naysayers said, his numbers were worse than they were the year before. They were less than they were before with the production, with the yardage and the total touchdowns and all of that. And they didn't reach up to what Lamar had last year. I think there was room for Allen absolutely to grow. And if the defense maybe isn't as good and he doesn't have to sit at the end of games or they're in more of a shootout setting for a couple extra weeks, sure, maybe he can push over 4,000 again and throw for 35, 40 touchdowns. I mean, he is so good that there are no ends to the possibilities of what that man can accomplish there. As for, is he the best quarterback in football? I mean, it kind of seems to be, where are you at on what particular day? I think talent-wise, he absolutely can make the case as the most talented player in the National Football League, combining his arm, his greatly improved accuracy, his running ability, his playmaking. There are a few, not just now, but ever, that have been able to do what he can do. But I wouldn't have any problem if someone stated the case for Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes even, or Joe Burrow. I mean, I think that we are blessed right now with an era of elite future Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and they kind of seem to one of them takes their step forward in the spotlight to themselves each year separately. So, but I do think if things go right for the Bills, they win the same amount of games like they're supposed to. They are the number 1 seed, and Allen continues to ascend as he has. There's no reason that he couldn't repeat and be the MVP again.
And just one final one from me, Frank Gore Jr., a 4th running back on the depth chart. I wouldn't imagine he's moving up too much, although you could obviously speak to that a lot better than I could. But do you guys ever kind of, you and the rest of the reporters ever kind of like think to yourselves, hey, it was only like 5-6 years ago that Frank Gore was on this team. Now we got Frank Gore Jr. Like we were pretty close to a LeBron, Bronny James scenario here.
Yeah, we one of the people I work with, she did a story with Frank Gore Jr. about that a year ago when he was getting with the team, rookie mini camp and OTAs and things like that. Frank Jr., similar to Frank Sr., they're soft-spoken. They don't talk a whole heck of a lot. And certainly with his standing on the depth chart and being here for a second year, you don't chat it up with him a lot. But I was here for his father being with the Bills and get video of Frank going over after a game into the stands and with his family. I don't think Frank Jr. was there because he was in high school or college at that point in time. But it is pretty crazy, and it's been a good situation for him. He won't make the team again, but I think a very strong case that for a second year he'll be on the Bills practice squad. He's had some really good moments in training camp to this point in preseason games. And so I think he'll continue to be a guy that the Bills like to do this with, of whether you're on the active roster or not. If you can stay in their system for a few years, you never know how things could shake out. And he's a nice story, a nice player, and it does get his dad back around Orchard Park like the old days.
Well, John, thank you so much for joining us. Really, really appreciate it here. We'll let you on your way. Go Bills, and hope to speak to you again soon throughout the season.
All right. Thank you.
All right. That was John Scott, NBC Buffalo, our last guest of the day here on the Jason Gregor Show. Now, Josh, you obviously, we ran this drill last week. Did you have a chance to hop on the mic outside of the intros and the updates?
I did not.
Okay, so this is
basically the pop into the cherry.
This is Gregor Show debut.
Yeah.
I was there once myself. It was me and Jason. It was tough. It was pretty scary.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think I might have been here for that, unless that wasn't your debut.
No, that was, you certainly
was that in 1260?
Yeah, you certainly were. You certainly were not here.
I wasn't even listening.
I wasn't even listening. You might have been. What year were you born again?
04.
Okay, yeah, you would have been. Oh, I don't know. You would have been in high school. That's for sure. All right, we'll take a break. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll finish it up here on the Jason Gregor Show. Thank you for listening here on Sports 1440.
Listen up, because you're not going to want to miss this. Right now is your chance to get in on Playalberta's biggest offer ever. For a limited time only, new players can get up to a $1,000 casino bonus when they sign up. There's never been a better time to join the fun. Visit playalberta.ca today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. Remember, if you gamble, use your game sense.
Some people wake up and get dressed for work in a suit and tie or a nice dress. At GS Construction, we're less fashion forward and more putting our best foot forward. We wear hard hats and steel toe boots, and most importantly, we wear 50 years of experience with pride. It's not glamorous, it's definitely not easy, but it matters. We do it well. So if you'd like to be part of something where your work matters, GS Construction is hiring. Just remember, when you come for an interview, ditch the tie. See more at gsconstruction.ca.
Reports suggest the Canadian taste buds are bored to tears.
My mouth can't handle another dull drink.
Summertime smoothie experts everywhere are recommending a watermelon wake-up from Booster Juice.
It's so smooth, cool, and refreshing.
And ridiculously delicious. Enjoy the Watermelon Wave and Watermelon Explosion smoothies, available all summer long at a Booster Juice near you. Stay cool, Canada.
Booster Juice.
Canadian born, blending since 1999.
For all things golf carts, it's the Golf Cart people. Their certified techs provide expert service from maintenance to custom upgrades. Customers can explore the sales floor for new and used Club Car, Yamaha, and E-Z-Go models. The Golf Cart people stock a wide variety of parts and accessories to keep every ride in top shape and offer convenient rentals for tournaments, weddings, and festivals. Trusted for sales, service, parts, accessories, and rentals since 1997. Visit the Golf Cart people at golfcartpeople.com, your complete golf cart solution.
It's happened again, and construction season is in full swing. Job delayed, money lost, and clients disappointed because your rigging failed and it wasn't inspected. Don't let this happen to you. Have your lifting slings, fittings, hoisting tools, and safety harnesses checked with Titan Supply. Titan Supply offers certified on-site and in-house rigging inspections and service, so they can repair it, replace it, and recertify it. Titan Supply in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary, and at titansupply.ca. Lift, dig, haul.
Portions of this hour brought to you by eWell. Get your power play amped up with eWell, supplying the city of champions and Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. eWell.ca is your partner in power.
Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by Playalberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. Final set. Oh, you're always so quick to drop the music, Josh. It always wigs
I'm just
me out
doing
a
what
little
Jason
bit.
tells me, man.
Always well, you gotta, a little gradual fade to it.
Newest hire. Just gotta prove that I'm worth keeping around.
But couldn't I make the argument that this is the opposite of that?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Sorry, man. It also makes it easier to edit. Just boom. Hey, you're on the radio, right?
Hey, man, I was reading a text. Well, this is the thing. Thank you for that, Josh, for putting me on blast like that. I was reading a text from Connor, and he had sent an image in. So I was sitting here thinking to myself, "Oh no, this is something about us." So I had to read it really quickly and just make sure it wasn't. And we're fine. It's all good.
I'm gonna send a big fat all caps lol to that.
Something I wanted to talk about, because Low Tide mentioned this on his show the other day when I was obviously producing, but I was doing something else. I didn't have a chance to chime in and join the conversation, which you all can do, 1-833-401-1440, by the way. And he had made the point, and this is kind of a moot point now. Like, I think people are tired of hammering this to death, and I think it's very divisive for a lot of people. But Low Tide had made the point about, rolling with Stuart Skinner. I don't want to put words in his mouth because, like I said, I was doing other work. I didn't hear it exactly. But he had made the point that, Stuart Skinner had got them to 2 Stanley Cup finals. And how they've invested a lot in this player, and he's very young, and they can't just throw that all away. And I do agree they've invested a lot in him. He's obviously very young, and he was thrown into a situation he wasn't really supposed to be in because things didn't work out with Jack Campbell. But the point I was trying to work around to, because Low Tide loves bringing up the 2 Dallas series, and deservedly so. He played great in those 2 Dallas series. But if you're going to bring up the 2 Dallas series, you got to bring up the LA series as well. And you have to bring up the Vancouver series the year before that. And I really struggle with the moniker and the idea that a guy got you to 2 Stanley Cups when in 2 cup runs, he's been pulled 3 times. Like, that doesn't happen to players who get you to Stanley Cups. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying Stuart Skinner hasn't had moments of incredible value to this team. I'm not saying he hasn't had moments when he, hasn't shown up, because he absolutely has. But getting you there is a really, really strong case to make for a guy I really just don't feel did. Like, I don't feel a guy who can get pulled 3 times in 2 years gets you there. Now, the other side of that coin is like, okay, so what do you do? No, not a great free agent crop. I get that too. And, what do you trade for? And not many options out there unless you want an $8 million goal and you got to send a lot of salary back. Okay, that's something to think about too. Go and get someone at the trade deadline. Maybe you're a little bit more handcuffed. But I don't love the narrative that gets thrown around sometimes that he got you there. Because I think he happened to be on the team. I don't think anyone thinks I shouldn't say anyone, but I don't think he got you there. Like, I don't think the Dallas series were great, but if you're going to talk about the Dallas series, you got to talk about the LA series. You got to talk about the Vancouver series. Like,
I think the defense is the Dallas series. I'm sorry.
Are you kidding me?
I have
My
to cut
goodness.
in.
I was
I'm sorry. I know you're a monologue and you're doing a great job, but I think like 2 shutouts in the Dallas series this year, I think that makes up for a lot.
Well, let me ask you that. Yeah, okay. Let me ask you this, Josh, because you obviously are a Flames fan. For anyone who doesn't know, and you maybe look at the You're not incredibly anti-Oilers, I wouldn't say, are you?
In my personal life, very much so.
All right, but I'll at least give you the credit that you're able to take an objective look.
I'm trying to take an objective look.
Taking an objective look at things, you more come out on the camp of pro Stu Skinner in the playoffs.
I wouldn't exactly say that. Like the Vancouver series from last year is pretty damning, and so is the King series. But I would say the King series is more or less the defense figured out what they were supposed to do.
I think that's a part of it.
And took care of business. But like the Vancouver series last year, that was bad.
Yeah. And okay, what about this? Like now I know the phrasing has been got you to the Stanley Cup Finals, but what about you trailed for the most amount of times ever? You trailed for the most amount of minutes ever in a Stanley Cup Finals. And you and Cal together had the lowest combined save percentage ever in a Stanley Cup Finals. That's not great. Now listen, I'll also be the first to tell you, and I'm probably sounding like I'm coming across really hard on this Oilers team. I'm not trying to do that because I do think the Oilers are in an incredibly envious position for 98% of the league. Like, okay, Florida beat you twice. You seem to have a pretty good stranglehold on the West. Like things are going pretty well for you. But so I'm not trying to be too hard on them in the grand scheme of things. But, McDavid in games 5 and 6 this year, games 6 and 7 last year, not really showing up. Like throughout the entire Stanley Cup Final series, getting outscored by Vasily Bodkolzin, like not things you would want. So I don't know. Like I don't love. I think I like Stuart Skinner. I like Stuart Skinner, and I think Stuart Skinner is a good fine goalie. Excuse me. But I just think running it back a third time is crazy. Like, I do not think he is the guy as of now, based on what we've seen. I think he's shown moments of flashes where he's really good, but I don't think he's the guy. And I think when you are in such a finite cap window, and now cup window, excuse me. And now maybe this cup window extends depending on the terms of the length of McDavid's extension. I think it's going to be 4 or 5 years. That extends it a little bit, so you stay there. But going 3 years in a row, it just seems crazy to me. And I'm not trying to dog Stuart Skinner. Like, he was thrown into a lot early on when he wasn't supposed to be, and that's tough to deal with. But you're there, and you're the starting goalie, and this team's in a cup window. Like, you can't be getting pulled 3 times in 2 years as a number one goalie. You know what I mean? Like, that really, really, really hurts a team. And I think there is something to be said to the adage that the team plays a little bit harder defensively in front of Calvin Pickard. Now that I don't want to do anyone disservice by saying that, especially when that's kind of conjecture, but I don't know. Just my thoughts on the Oil and Stuart Skinner and the goaltending right now. I know I got a little bit rambly. I got so monologue-y actually that Josh interrupted me.
I'm sorry. I was just so excited.
No, it's cool, man. You wouldn't do that if it was Jason.
Dude, I would be pinned up against this wall.
Oh, buddy, yeah. Me too.
Any of us. Connor wouldn't dare.
No, my goodness. This one comes in from BG. He says, I'm with you. I think you can make the argument that Pickard got them there. He saved them more in one series. Yeah, no, I think, listen, it's because it's funny. We got to remember, like, if Cal Pickard never gets hurt, like, do we even see Stu Skinner go back in net? Probably not, right? Now, he did get hurt, and Stu came in and played well, but I just, like, we point to these Dallas series, and we talk about, how amazing it was. Like, it might not even have been in there if Cal Pickard stayed healthy. Now, to Stu's credit, when Cal did get hurt, he did go in and play well, and like I said, you have to give him that credit in that respect. But BG, you make an excellent point. EG, going from BG to EG, those are two real texters, by the way. He says Skinner statistically is one of the worst goalies ever in the Stanley Cup playoffs. He's in the bottom 5, I believe. Running it back is the definition of insanity. They play with more confidence in front of Pickard. I tend to agree with your second text, man. Like, insanity seems a little harsh because there's so much that goes into it. It's not just NHL 25 where you can just go and trade for a goalie. You know, there are a lot of things that factor in, and the free agent crop wasn't great. And we talk a lot about the salary, and that's another point I don't necessarily agree with. I don't love the sentiment that he's on a great value contract just because of what the salary is. The salary, it's only a good salary if he plays well, right? So I just completely lost my train of thought already. Thinking about how I sounded like Jason by saying right like that. But the hell was I saying here? Josh, help me out. Where was I at?
I don't know. I'm doing important stuff.
I was talking to. I got it now. I got it because we're about to wrap up the show. But I was talking about how it's not just NHL 25 and the free agent comp isn't great, and there is something to be said that when you are on that $2.6 million contract, money gets allocated elsewhere. So there is a lot that goes into not just running it back. But I do think that being said, it does seem crazy to go into another playoff run with another year of McDavid and Draisaitl getting another year older with this goaltending tandem that, listen, you can say they got you there. I don't believe they got you there. And even if they did get you there, this year they had the worst save percentage combined in Stanley Cup history. So yeah, comes in, making 2.6 is an excuse to be mediocre below average. I totally agree, man. 2.6 is only a value contract if you play well for the contract. If you play like dog doo-doo, then the contract don't mean anything. It's same for any salary. Like $1 million, like who cares if you're getting paid $1 million? Who cares if you're getting paid $1 million as a forward if you get dog walked every time you have to be in a defensive position, finish the season, dash 25 with 4 assists and no goals? And Glenn says, what 2 big names are you trading away, Armchair Geniuses? Well, Glenn, that's the point I was kind of trying to make. Apparently I didn't articulate it well enough to your credit. That's the thing. You can't really be trading away 2 big names with 2 big salaries. First of all, you got no trade clauses out the wazoo. And then second of all, is the answer coming back the other way? All right, we're going to get to a Sports 1440 update. Music just got a little bit louder. Josh Fenwick coming at you. This one brought to you by 01 Hockeyology. Build your game all summer long with custom training and cutting-edge tech. Become unstoppable. Sign up now at 01.ca. That's ZER01E.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Elks game day today. Elks in action over in Ottawa, taking on the Redblacks, lining up for a field goal right now. However, the score is 0-0 with 5 minutes left to go in the first. San Francisco 49ers have acquired Brian Robinson from the Washington Commanders for a 2026 6th-round draft pick. Elks now leading the game 3-0 on the Ottawa Redblacks. Minnesota Wild are signing restricted free agent Marco Rossi to a 3-year, $15 million contract. Catcher Samuel Basallo and the Baltimore Orioles are finalizing an 8-year, $67 million contract extension. Over in the MLB, the Jays lead the Marlins 3-1 in the top of the third. Other scores from around the league, the Pirates on top of the Rockies 5-0. Nats leading the Phillies 3-1 in the bottom of the fourth. Red Sox, Yankees at a draw in the top of the third. Astros and Orioles. Astros smoking the Orioles 4-0 in the top of the third. Royals Tigers sees the same score as the Jays 3-1. Bottom of the third, Royals leading in that one. Mets taking on the Braves. They lead 2-0 at the end of the second. Cardinals and the Rays. Rays lead 1-0. And Twins White Sox at a draw in the bottom of the first. Tour Championship going on sees Tommy Fleetwood and Russell Henley leading at the end of day 2 at 13 under par. Cameron Young at third with 11 shots under par. Highest Canadian in the field is Nick Taylor, who is sitting at 6 under. Corey Connors sits at -3. Coming up on the station is Fox Sports. And then in the morning, we have the Kevin Carrier Show at 7 a.m. I'm Josh Fenwick. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
What's better than a family reunion? Getting the family discount. At Nisku Ford, you're not just a customer, you're part of the family. And we believe our family deserves the very best.
That's why our legendary employee pricing is back. This August, get the Ford you want at the price you deserve with exclusive deals reserved for our closest kin. It's our way of saying, welcome home.
The coffee's on. Drive into Nisku Ford or visit niskuford.ca today. Above expectations.